link me to the stream if link me to the stream when it comes up.
It'll be a new link now.
Okay.
Insomniac, you've been...
Alright, it says we're live.
You were completely gone for the past 2 months.
Yes.
And now you have reappeared at the
guys, we're
exact
live.
moment.
Who, me?
Okay.
Yes.
At least I think we're live.
Okay, yeah, we are live.
Alright.
We're live.
Link me to the stream if it's live.
I'm talking about my problems here. We're talking about Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Yes, we are live,
Well,
and I can hear my...
We will be talking about it if I get a link to the stream. So,
Let's see.
because I can't seem to get a link to it. Boomer Nephi.
There you go.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see if everyone can hear us. Okay, can everyone hear me, and can everyone hear everyone else? Okay, someone says they can hear everyone now. Okay, hopefully that is the end of the technical difficulties for the rest of the stream until the next one we do in the future. every time we start the stream, there's technical difficulties.
There's always technical difficulties.
Okay, cool. Everyone seems to be able to hear now. Okay. Now that everyone can hear us, and it doesn't sound like me just talking to myself. Warcraft 3 Reforged. That's what we were talking about, I think.
Yeah, we were talking about the price points.
Yeah,
like how $30 of Warcraft 3 Reforged actually makes sense for what you get for the price versus a bunch of other remakes. Not mentioning particular examples.
Yeah.
That charge full price without adding anything to the original content.
Yeah, before stupid technical difficulties ruined the stream and made it sound like I was babbling to myself. Yeah, I was saying that I was kind of shocked at how cheap the price tag for the Warcraft 3 remake is, and then you look at Link's Awakening and it's $60, and there's like nothing new in it, and
well,
yeah.
you can rearrange dungeons.
You can rearrange dungeons. Never mind that Warcraft 3 has a fully customizable editor that lets you like make anything you want. Maybe I should port Hyrule Conquest to Warcraft 3. I mean, it'd be coming full circle. It all started in Warcraft 3 years and years and years ago. It all started there.
I think you can make that Star Fox 4X.
Oh,
Galactic Civilizations 4.
Yeah.
That would be really funny if Hyrule Conquest, it all started in Warcraft 3 in like 2004, 2003, and then years later it all comes back to it. That'd be really funny.
Then you should, you should reactivate your old account on the fucking, what is it called? The Hive thing.
Yeah, on Hive Workshop, I think is what it was called.
Hive Workshop. Yes, that's what it was.
Just double checking to make sure, but can everyone in the can you guys all hear me and everyone else in the chat? Just to make sure that it is still working. I'm looking at the chat and no one's replying.
I mean, there is a delay though, so.
Okay, well, I got one yes. Okay, cool. It looks like I fixed the technical difficulties. It basically involved me unplugging and replugging my microphone and headphones in rapidly about 50 times until it worked. I'm not kidding.
Such a boomer solution.
The boomer solution. Yeah, that was
it a couple times.
That was the other thing I was saying before technical difficulties is like there's kind of like a meme that I'm just a boomer and that I hate all the new games and stuff, but that's not the case. Like almost all my favorite games are from the last few years, and the Warcraft 3 remake looks awesome. It's just I think all the Zelda stuff sucks, but who's whispering in the background?
I don't know.
Anyway.
There's a little man in your ear.
Ooh, what is this?
Anyway, I forgot what the hell we're talking about. This is gonna be such a chaotic stream, probably.
Warcraft 3 reporting over, yeah. I'm just kidding.
See, I'm not sure if I really have much else to say about the Warcraft 3 remake other than it looks good and the price is pretty great.
I just hope they don't fuck over the editor, honestly. That's the only thing that I'm kind of about.
It says they've added more stuff to it, so...
I hope
I don't
it's on the same
microtransactions.
level as StarCraft 2, honestly.
What about StarCraft 2?
I'm hoping that the editor's not on the same level of StarCraft 2.
Oh yeah,
I've
the
actually
StarCraft
never
2
used the
editor.
StarCraft 2 editor.
it's not terrible. Like if you really get into it, it's good, but it's nowhere near as flexible as the original Warcraft 3 yet. Like
Yeah,
no,
that's my main issue, the lack of flexibility, because you have to get really into it, but because it's now the standard, it's kind of a high entry point.
yeah, I guess. Like it takes a while to learn it. But even then, there's a lot of like. There are some blocks, but there are also ways to get around it essentially. But the thing is, it's really clunky, and when you want to mess around with it, you kind of spend most of the time lurking on various message boards to find out how you do stuff, because it doesn't make sense.
It does not. It took me a while to even learn how to make a unit get intake levels, and that was like, I guess running through an obstacle course was.
Yeah. I think the only things that I ever made in the editor was like some custom scenarios on maps. That's pretty much the only thing, because like I did kind of get an idea of how it worked, but I don't know. It just I didn't like it as much as the Warcraft 3 one, which is why I hope that the Reforged actually is good and actually allows you to do whatever you want.
I
We'll
hope
see.
so, although I probably won't spend too much time in it because I have a certain other game I need to make.
Yes.
What?
Or you
Oh,
port it.
yeah, Hyrule Conquest.
Star Fox Event Horizon 2.
Yeah, you gotta work on Star Fox RTS, bro.
Poor Star Fox.
Hey, wait a minute, Iron. Didn't you want to take over the Star Fox RTS?
Hell no, but I did want to. I did want to
Apparently
find
my audio is going in and out. Is it just me or is it everyone else too?
I hear you crackle a little bit, but I think that's just a connection thing.
It might just be a connection problem. My streams are so unprofessional.
Are you on a wired connection or Wi-Fi?
I'm pretty sure I'm Wi-Fi.
Okay.
No,
Sometimes
I don't.
that
I don't
has
have
weird
an old
interference.
school wire that goes into the wall and plugs into my tower. I don't have that.
Old school. That's the most reliable connection. That's what
I'm
I
not
got.
that much of a boomer.
Still has some.
I have a wired connection.
Yikes.
I'm still using dial-up.
If I was using dial-up, I don't even think this stream would be working. I did, in true boomer fashion, I had dial-up until like 2009. I'm not joking. I had dial-up for the longest time. That was a
That's
weird
pretty
sound
rad.
effect I heard in the background.
Speaking of
ahead.
dial-up, though, is EXO still around? How's that mission? going?
Oh yeah. Yeah, people keep asking on the ModDB page what's going on with the campaign. We might actually have a mission ready in like the next few weeks, so that'll be cool. It's kind of a race to see if the Deku Scrubs will be done first or the mission will be done first.
You gotta give me my $300, Neff.
Yeah, we made a bet that whoever finishes first gets $300. So there's a possibility
Oh.
I'll be eating nothing but ramen for like the next month. And
What if? What if?
You hear this, guys? In order to pay off this debt, you gotta go to Neffy's Patreon and donate the highest amount.
The undying Nephilim needs your help. Send him your credit card
Buy
number.
Neffy a meal.
I don't need to e-bag. I'll be fine.
You need to eat girl.
What?
You need to be you have to become an e-girl.
Neffy the e-girl.
I'm still waiting for Sulcarius's Snapchat Premium to be posted.
Sulcarius Patreon only skin.
Insect girl
Okay.
spit.
No. Inside the campaign, we're going to make a new date simulator for Hyrule Conquest. It's gonna happen. We're
Should
gonna
work.
make tons of money.
Like we were
Yeah,
since we were talking about KFC earlier, you should work with their devs.
Everyone, no. Everyone donate, and everyone who wants to see Ruto, everyone just wants to raise their hands right now. Yes, I see
I mean-
hand. I see that hand.
I mean, if you told anyone that, you're gonna be allowed to, invite Sulcarius to tea, then everyone would give you money.
Everyone in the
Money.
chat, type 1 if I should turn Hyrule Conquest into a dating simulator. Type 2 if not.
Hyrule Cunt Quest. Look at this.
No one.
Oh, no.
Well, what's sad is if
votes are in.
what's really sad is if I did that, my Patreon probably would skyrocket, and then Nintendo would
Probably, yeah.
definitely shut me
Oh,
down.
yeah, definitely.
Yo, so what's the roster looking like?
The waifu
The
roster,
options. What are the options?
All of them, dude.
all of the waifus probably.
Even the kids.
Oh, I was about to say, someone puts Agatha. I'm calling the police.
I'm happy to see some twos that not everyone wants me to change Hyrule Conquest into a waifu simulator.
No, but here's the-
No.
here's the thing.
Those
You can
are
have
troll
both.
votes.
Those are troll votes.
No,
The twos
you
are
can have
12 votes.
both, guys. You guys, you like Vision. You can have both,
Yeah,
right? You can have both. You can have the RTS elements, the missions, and the dating.
RTS waifu simulator.
Yes.
Have a crossover with some of the hot babes from.
Who's gonna do the writing? Dioxy, you're gonna do the.
Diox will write it.
So like in between missions, we can have kinky dialogue, and then you can become a patron.
You won't even
For
need me
10
for music.
extra dollars.
Don't worry, I'll work on the balance.
You won't even need me for music. You can just use the sexy sax from Star Fox Adventures.
Oh god.
Yikes.
That'd be hilarious and sad if I did go through with that and then just
It's like-
my
it's like-
Patreon
it's
skyrocketed.
It's like, Link touch that fishtail.
Not yet.
Yikes. Giga yikes. Colossal oof.
Remember that fan fiction that I found on DeviantArt about biting fins? Like, you guys remember that?
No, I know. Catch me up. What?
Apparently, it's a thing on DeviantArt with Mifa and all the other Sora that they're really into getting their fins bit by Hylians or whatever.
Who comes up with this stuff?
That's a fetish like not even a human could have. Like, why would you come to that? Like,
Hey,
This is what happens when we don't have a topic for a live stream.
yeah.
No, but
already,
FBI, open up.
already, this is one of the best episodes. Just saying.
Yeah,
What
already
about,
it's the best
what
live stream.
What about the Mifa thing where she became even fatter? Like within every image became worse in quality.
What was
Oh,
it?
yeah,
Every,
yeah.
It was the
every,
last
every,
time.
every follow is like plus 20 pounds. Every like is
Yeah.
like,
I mean, all of those things can become nice, features in Hyrule Conquest with some convincing, guys.
No,
Just
you're
put it
not
out
gonna
there.
convince me.
yeah, if you have too many
Nah.
resources, all the models become fat.
You can give me your resources, Deox, and we'll get it in. No problem. Never. You haven't heard anything. This
It's
is
like
not but
Exodarian's
it
gonna
is.
secretly make a freaking Hyrule waifu conquest, like
Well,
behind my back, and then
You
just
can put a
release
cheat
it.
code in. Like
Hey.
old games had big head mode. We can have big body mode.
Dead ass. If legit, if Exodarian, if you make that, I will make guides.
Are we just bargain? Okay. If you make that, I'll make 5 tracks by the end of the year. How about that? We'll bargain.
I will make the how to win Sulcaris over strategy guide.
It's gonna be super difficult, but
Actually,
there
the only
will
thing
be a
I'm looking
route.
for if you actually do go on with that.
I can just imagine Iron making a video. It's like, guys, you need to get this. You have to buy her gifts on a Sunday, not a Saturday.
Oh no! Oh, you want to put in a gift system? Fuck
Excuse me,
that.
there are no Sundays and Saturdays in my Hyrule.
Yes. It's 12 days a week.
I mean, yeah, porn or not, it needs to be lore accurate.
It needs to
Yeah,
be lore
true.
accurate.
Yeah. That is true, actually. That is true. Gotta keep them priorities in there.
The world's
But,
most consistent
The only
waifu
thing I'm
lore.
hoping for, if you ever do that, is that I'm hoping that you get to choose your male character.
Darunia.
So welcome everybody. This is the Hyrule Conquest team here. Very professional.
Yeah, this is like the most unprofessional stream we've done
This-
since the
this
E3
is
one.
the Hyrule Conquest team now.
Should we try to get more on topic?
Yeah. Come on, Exo, talk
We
about
want
the mission.
to.
I guess
Yeah.
maybe we should talk about the mission that we're working on.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's do
Yeah,
that.
Neff, talk about the mission. Go ahead.
What's
Wow.
the last thing that I'm trying to remember? The last thing you sent me that you worked on for it. I think I tested out all the dialogue that happens when you cross over the bridges. Yeah, there's
That might
gonna
be
be
accurate.
in-game dialogue and stuff, so that's gonna be awesome.
There's some videos here and
I
there.
I
on
can't
the
wait to
channel.
show it.
And that's gonna be really cool, actually.
Yeah, maybe I should get onto that mission again.
Do you have this weekend off?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know if you want to work on it tomorrow. I'm up for that. If I don't know, you need me to test things out for it.
I'll probably just be implementing new stuff at this point. I've already written down what I still need. Let me actually look that up. I think I've got a few things here. You want to? Oh, I shouldn't actually talk about everything because that's going to spoil everything.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't spoil the mission too much until it's ready.
But there's some of the defensive scripts still have to be set up. You know what the AI will do by default. Well, you've seen the gate triggers, right? Like the
Yeah.
gate triggers. But I'm talking here about how the AI will respond during gameplay, even when you're not attacking specific points on the map. But I already kind of know how I'm going to do that, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Make sure the citizens flee all right. Make sure the victory is set up correctly. There's the AI hives haven't even been programmed yet, so there still need to be AI hives when you capture hives after the first one.
Seeing all the citizens flee was really awesome. There's a point when, just for the people in the audience, like, obviously this will be more exciting when I actually, like, show a playthrough of it, but there's a script in the mission, like, when you enter the city, all the civilians just start running away, and, like, the map kind of reveals a bit, I think, to show them running away. It looks really awesome. I don't know why I thought that was so awesome when I tested it, and then all the civilians just start running through the marketplace when you're attacking it. It looked really cool to me. It's probably not a huge deal, but I don't know. I liked it.
Well, I mean, you have so many citizens placed in the market, and they just don't do anything. Like, people respond usually when they're attacked.
Yeah.
You know, Goma swarm arrives, like, oh, what are we gonna do? You know, in the current version, they would just stand there, just do nothing.
Unless they get attacked, then they run.
Yeah, I guess, but then you have all these citizens just idling around, and then one guy gets attacked, and he's like, hey guys, I'm just going to run away, while the under 100 citizens do nothing.
I originally gave the citizens wander behavior, but there's so many of them on the map that it actually caused horrible performance problems. Because there's like over 400. There's like 400 civilians on the map, and they were constantly updating like their wander pathfinding or whatever it is, and it was lagging horribly. And as soon as I disabled it, everything was fine. So that's why I got rid of the wander behavior for all of them.
Yeah, I think if you were to do wander behavior, you'd have to do it on like specific special units.
Yeah.
We're deploying it.
Someone pointed out in the chat, yes, the Kokiri all speak early modern English or Shakespearean, like the Great Deku Tree, which I suspect will put a few people off, but I like it.
I think it's funny.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be really funny if Saria speaks in Shakespearean like the Great Deku Tree.
I mean, to be fair, even though it's funny, you could always kind of implement it that they speak an archaic version of Hylian.
Well, yeah, because in the context of Nephcanon, they're not actually speaking English; they're speaking Hylian. So yeah, the context will be they're speaking an older dialect of Hylian, which makes sense in Nephcanon because the Kokiri, when they last were Hylians, it was what 100, 200 years ago. I think 100.
Yeah.
So they probably they either would have their own dialects that they developed over time, or they would still be using the dialect of Hylian from the time. So yeah, they all speak Shakespearean.
Well, someone was asking in chat if there are going to be random events. I don't think so, not particularly, but there will be dialogue that you can find that you don't obviously need that dialogue to complete the mission, but there will be some Easter egg dialogue, just some extra lore dialogue in the mission, and there will also be little, what are they called, like little spiders that you can kill.
The golden skulltulas.
Yeah, the golden skulltulas you can find, and I will make sure to put in a little reward, potentially a few secrets but maybe you probably get a few units that you actually can't create during the mission, and you get them as a reward. Something.
It's kind of like how Warcraft did its campaign, which was really good. Yeah, like the Warcraft 3 campaign is a very good place to look for inspiration.
Oh yes. Yeah. Every mission in Hyrule Conquest will have bonus objectives, and every mission will have one where you if you kill all 3 of the golden skulltulas on the map, you get something. And then down the road, I'll probably have something where if you get every gold skulltula in the game, it unlocks something.
Out like a skin.
Yeah, maybe if you beat all the gold, if you get all the gold skulltulas, you unlock the golden Solkara skin or something.
Although I'm going to say that whatever happens from now on with development of the mission, I'm probably not gonna upload any more videos of the mission because I don't want to spoil anything anymore at this point.
It's good.
Yeah.
So if I would post anything, it would probably be in the Discord, maybe just a GIF or something, and that would be pretty much it.
Yeah.
So, by the way, if you do want dibs on some of the development updates, you can go to my Patreon. It's in. No,
okay. I'm joking. There, obviously.
Are you?
But
Okay, we got several relevant questions. Someone asked if there will be puzzles. I would really like there to be puzzles, but I don't know if and how I would implement them. So there's no promises, but I will certainly make an attempt. I just don't know how well it would work in the RTS format versus an actual Zelda game. And then someone asked if all the gold skulltulas give Guonam. Guonam's actually a cheat code unit, so no, it won't be that. Yeah, you'll be if you type in Squadala into the chat, it'll spawn Guonam. It's not implemented yet, but he's gonna be a cheat code unit. And then someone asked if there'll be temples. Yes, there will be a type of map you can select that I think they'll just be called dungeon maps, where those maps will have almost no resources, and you actually have to go into the dungeon and destroy stuff and find treasure chests to get resources to make your armies. So there will be dungeon maps.
Yeah, but that's all very far off, isn't it? This is we're
probably
talking about.
Yeah.
I actually suggested to Neff. I suggested to Neff for one of the newer maps, one of the more recent new maps, where we could actually give a shot at making some kind of a defense map where you get a fortress, and it doesn't have to be incredibly
siege
detailed
maps.
or anything. Yeah, kind of like siege maps, and just the AI will just send hordes of enemies towards you in phases, and you have to defend it, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like that, and that would just be another scripted map, but it wouldn't be to the detail of an actual mission. It would probably just be single player only. But that wouldn't require huge amounts of dialogue or other weird stuff. That would just be just a scripted map with phases, I guess. And then if you defend
Nah,
all the
there's
phases,
gonna be siege maps like that. I've been playing Conan Unconquered recently, which is basically that exact style of game, where you're building a base and then there's just endless waves of enemies coming at you. So that's kind of fresh on my mind right now.
Well, I'm talking about a pre-built base for the most part, a bit like in Battle of Middle-earth, where you have to defend Helm's Deep against the Urukai. It's a little bit like that. The base is pretty much just set up for you already, for the most part, and then you just have to defend it.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be maps like that.
I am personally more interested in doing more missions because that's the meat of the mod, really, and that's where the mod can really shine with its with the cinematics combined, and just that you're following the story and you actually get to interact with the story because you're playing the mission yourself. And
like as a big multiplayer show, I think the missions in the single player modes like that are like so cool, and they're gonna bring in a lot of people.
I always thought that Hyrule story was like the main pull.
That was until I moved to 0 AD, that was always the only thing I was interested in, was the missions when I was still doing the Total War version. But then when I moved to 0 AD and all these things became possible, I just kind of became excited about every aspect and not just that. I'm like excited about everything, the single player, the multiplayer, just everything. So
yeah, 0 AD actually enabled there to be multiplayer.
Yeah.
Which opened up a whole new.
Oh man, I'm like missing the questions in the chat. Let me see which ones I missed. Any commando type missions with no micro? At the moment, there will only be one. Because I'm actually not really a fan of missions like that in RTS games. There is one that I did in the Total War version of the game that's going to carry over to the 0 AD one. It's the one when
Impa and them are trying to
Impa and the first Princess Zelda are trying to escape from Hyrule Castle when the Moblins are sacking the city.
A classic.
Although that one, it starts out like that, and you'll eventually slowly gather an army for that mission as you try to escape the city. So, what other questions did I miss? I think that's the only question I missed, actually.
Do you think it's gonna work better than it did in Total War?
Yes.
That means.
Yes. especially once you add stealth to the engine. And then Impa can like hide and like just pop out and kill moblins and stuff.
I think this format of game is way better for what Neff wants to do, like what his vision is.
Oh yeah, no doubt, absolutely no doubt at all. It's like the Hyrule story is, because when you have such an elaborate story, and I know like some people, think that have their own thoughts about the story and whatnot, but at the end of the day, there is a big story to tell, and campaign is usually the best way to do that.
I felt a little better about my insane mission count when I found out last night. I realized that Warcraft 3 has over 60 missions in it with fully voiced dialogue and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm not completely insane. They tried to do it.
You'd be crazy for trying to make Warcraft on your own. Oh wait, never mind.
The crazy part is trying to make, like 40 plus factions all work and coexist with each other.
Yeah, that's the one thing that probably won't ever be completely done right, is balancing 50 factions for multiplayer. There's probably always going to be several factions that just are better than others because of how crazy the game is.
Someone wants more wedgies in your cinematics, Neff.
Oh god.
Well, that was random, but okay.
Ban this person.
Oh no, I think they're saying the opposite.
Oh, you think so? Okay. Oh shit, I misread that. How dare I? Someone asked a very important question in the chat. BFME style battalions are on the to-do list. By coincidence, I was actually reading a post where on the forums they were mentioning the battalions. Some people were actually working on restructuring the battalion system. Someone wrote something for it, but that's for the 0AD main game. So I'm not sure yet when that will be released and how I'll be working on that. Anyway, I was planning on implementing that myself at some point anyway, but if they are already going to do some base work for that, that would be pretty nice. And there's also a battalion mod out there already, but obviously getting out the parts that I would like to use is going to take some time. So
there will be battalions eventually. Yeah, it's just
eventually. I just don't know exactly when yet, because after the mission is done, Neff is going to pester me for the next mission, and I also want to finish.
No, I'm going to pester you for the AI first.
Well, yeah, I need to finish the AI, and
like really, man.
Man, we're getting lots of questions this time.
The moblins do not work on the map, nor do the darkness.
Moblins don't work in general. Sorry.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised how many people I wasn't expecting. I don't know. There a lot of people have commented about the moblins having no AI. I actually wasn't expecting so many people to comment on it. So yeah, the AI for the moblins and dark. Well, actually, you're redoing the entire AI. You've been redoing it, haven't you, for like the last few months? Which is why you didn't do the moblin and darknet AI when at the time, because I think you were. I don't remember exactly, but
it's gonna take a while. I basically reached the point where there was so much going on in the background that I either wasn't completely aware of or didn't really understand what it was trying to do, and so I just removed everything and started from scratch. But that was a long time ago, and I'm at a point where I just want to create a Hyrule AI first. I'm not gonna say that their AI is bad, because it's just written for 0AD. It's not written for Hyrule Conquest, and Hyrule Conquest is such a different game at this point with its mechanics and its factions.
An entirely different game, yeah.
So it's impossible. What?
If I may say something.
Sure.
Get the spotlight. Take it.
Yeah, before I go on a question answering spree.
And this kind of pertains to the story thing that you were talking about earlier, guys. A lot of the RTS games are of massive armies going at it 1v1ing and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Hyrule Conquest, especially with the characters from The Legend of Zelda, especially of how you're implementing it, it has some of that, but you also have characters that are the center focus. You have Zelda, the first. You have Impa. You have Darunia. You have Link. You have fucking Hylia.
Yes, although she might be a Titan, not a hero.
But
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, though.
Character of importance.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yes, that was intentional because I love Warcraft 3 so much.
Yeah, but and because they are of high importance characters, these characters cannot go down against a proper 1v1 of a regular unit. You have to throw in like Dynasty Warrior style. Of course, they can't fling.
Well, maybe not that over the top.
Well, they can't fling them like in Dynasty Warriors, but you get my point.
Yeah, well, eventually when we add abilities into the game, all the heroes are gonna have a bunch of abilities and stuff, and they'll level up, and they'll be more than just like a normal unit with some more health.
Yeah, hero abilities will probably make me feel
I'm still shocked to this day that, considering how many RTS games tried to rip off Warcraft 3, there is still not a single RTS that has ripped off its hero system.
It's
Which is
very
really odd.
It's very odd, and the hero system in Warcraft 3 is basically perfect. Like,
yeah.
I'm shocked no one's tried to rip it off, but there's like tons of questions in the chat I'm missing, so I think I'm gonna try and go through them.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go.
See, the last one we answered was the battalions. Someone said recruiting map bosses in the future. I know I had plans for like heroes you could recruit at like a tavern or something. Again, like Warcraft 3. I'm not sure about titans or bosses. I'm not gonna say no to that though. That's kind of an open question, I guess, as to if you can get map titans. That'd be such a powerful thing. It'd probably have to be something that's really hard to do for a player.
That is true. Like, then again, you have Hylia, you have Twin Rova, you have what's his face from the Moblins, Vadi.
Oh, he's a Darknet hero, but yeah, Vadi's a yeah.
Wait, Vadi's a Darknet hero?
He's a Darknet Titan. Vadi's the Darknet Titan.
Yes. I heard he was a hero first for some reason.
Nah, he's the Darknet Titan right now, and he's probably one of the best ones in the game, although someone pointed out he can't do damage to other Titans for some reason, so I need to fix that.
Oof.
I don't know why that's going on, but anyway, someone asked if there'll be special items like the Iron Boots and Hookshot. Yes, there will be items. I actually have a list of them, and I briefly talked about it with Exodarian like a week or two ago.
Wait, what did we talk about?
The relics.
Oh, the relics.
Yeah, they're gonna be, if you've played Age of Mythology, the items that you get in dungeons will kind of be like the relics from Age of Mythology, where your hero picks them up and you bring them back to like your temple, and then they'll give you some kind of ability or something.
I do feel that we are talking an awful lot about aspirations for the next 2050 years.
Yeah. I think I will be implementing the relic thing a lot sooner than some of the other features though, because it's currently possible in 0 AD right now, so it's not something that really needs to be added. I just need to sit down and make the actual relics and then put them in. So that one might be in the game sooner than some of the other things we're talking about.
When someone asked
music.
if you plan to, oh god,
Huh?
Someone was asking if you plan to do like peaceful missions, like economic missions and stuff.
I'm not opposed to that, but that would be possible to do in 0 AD, unlike Medieval 2. So I just don't know if those would be fun. If I could find a way to make them fun, then yeah, I would do something like that. Kind of similar to that, Exo and I talked about in between missions. There'll be like because I played Spellforce 3 a few months ago, and I guess it gave me this idea. But in between missions, there'll be like I want to call it like a campfire sort of thing, where like all the heroes and like your armies are kind of just preparing for the mission, and you're going around talking to characters and things like that.
It's more just for dialogue, though. It's not really.
Yeah, it's mostly for dialogue, and obviously you'd pick which hero you'd want to play as in the next mission. For like missions that have multiple armies, like as an example, the last mission for the Fallen Sage arc, since you can play as the Ooka or the Hylians or Laneru, right before that mission, they'd have like a giant camp set up in the Misery Mire, and you could go around talking to the different characters. Then you'd pick which one you want to play as, and pick which hero that you'd get, and then the AI would get the other armies. So that's not necessarily an economic mission, but it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of in the same idea, where there's parts of the mission where you're not just building armies and killing people. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just thinking if you get it to implement it, side missions in general are a very good way to expand characters that are not in cinematics.
Yeah, so we don't need like 50-minute long cinematics after every mission.
Here's the thing, like if you want to go into a character's, story, you can have a side mission, and most of that story is told to you by in-game dialogue. You don't need to have everything in cinematics, and that will make the character seem way more alive, because one of the biggest complaints that I've seen people have with Hyrule Conquest story is that because due to the nature that you are, you have, we talked about this with the last cinematic you did, how much dialogue and character that was cut because you don't have the time to put everything in.
And then
But
2
all of
years after, I get sad. I'm like, I need to redo this all.
Yeah, but it's like, but a lot of those moments can be put in the game. They don't need to be in the cinematic.
Yeah.
The cinematics can focus more on the things that really matter in context of the story and the plot. But more of the the character moments, they can also be put into the game. I don't think anyone would be opposed to that. That instead of having those moments in the cinematic, they get it as a character dialogue in a mission.
Yeah, well, just like Spellforce 3, which I highly recommend to anyone in the chat who loves RTS games. Get Spellforce 3. It's really good. Graphically, it's like the best RTS game I've ever played. It's kind of amazing what they pulled off with that game. But it's a very dialogue-heavy RTS too, which is unusual because a lot of RTS games are not dialogue-heavy at all. There's a lot of character dialogue in Spellforce 3. It's pretty great.
Port Hyrule Conquest to Spellforce.
Nah.
Every time Neffy gets a new favorite game, he ports the entire game over to it.
What game did I just got Impossible Creatures finally, and I was kind of disappointed by it.
Really?
Yeah. I've heard so much. Impossible Creatures has been hyped to me for so many years that I've been really looking forward to getting it. And it was on sale on Steam for like $2 the other day, and I got it, and I'm like, this game kind of sucks. It's not that good.
Oof.
Is that like the Spore looking game?
What?
Is that like, I don't know what that game is, I don't think. It's kinda
yeah,
like
it's
Spore or
yeah. I
something?
think you said Spore. Yeah, it's kind of like Spore, where you're mixed. It's not exactly like Spore, but the concept of the game is amazing. Like you hunt all these creatures in the wild, and you take their DNA, and then you splice their DNA and like parts of their body to make your units. That part of the game's actually pretty cool. Like when you're in the lab creating your creatures, it's awesome. And then you get to the actual game, and like all the units are kind of the same, and it's I don't know, it's weird because it was made by the people who made Homeworld, which is like one of the best RTS games ever. And then after that, they went on to do Dawn of War, which is a pretty good series too. So I don't know, I'm kind of disappointed by Impossible Creatures.
By the way, Nev, someone just mentioned bathwater in the chat. Like, why don't you just do what Belle Delphine did and just get some fishy smelling
Mifa bathwater?
Yeah.
Fish girl bathwater.
Oh my god, I'm doing a terrible job keeping up with the chat. Let me see what other questions I've missed.
It's a good thing we didn't miss that question.
What was the last one I answered? I think it was the items. Oh no, the peaceful missions thing. Someone asked when we'll see the next chapter. I presume you mean the Labrina one. I'm not sure, since EXO and I are getting the current missions in the engine right now. It might actually be a while before I do the Labrina missions, which is a little bit sad because I really want to start on them, because I actually think the Labrina campaign will be the best one in the entire game.
We haven't actually seen anything from. At least I know nothing about Labrina myself.
Because you're an onion.
Don't
pay attention.
I think someone asked about Dead Rocks. I'm trying to get every possible Zelda creature into the game that I can, so at some point Dead Rocks might show up. I don't have any current plans for them, although as Loopy pointed out, they were originally going to be undead Gorons, but I'm not sure if I'll go through with that. I'm not sure if I like the idea of undead Gorons.
And it kind of breaks the lore.
Yeah, exactly.
What about the lore?
Someone asked about when Labrina's coming out. They're going to get made after the Lizalfos, and the Lizalfos are next. So we might see Labrina around December, around Christmas time. I'm not sure. That might be after Christmas. It depends on how long the Lizalfos take me to do. They might take a while to do.
Yeah, I was just about it. You're gonna rework those fuckers, man. I know you are.
Yep. I would say we'll probably see Labrina stuff in game sometime in the next 4 to 6 months. Rough estimate.
Though, just a serious question to Deox, like how much do you think you can get involved into the writing of what Neff is doing, and also for the missions that are coming up? Serious, how much do you think you can contribute to that within the next 6 months or so? Because I know you were quite busy.
Quite a lot, to be honest. I just need some kind of like, the thing is, if I have some directions and just some kind of like pointers, then it's not even an issue.
Yeah, we'll be sending the dialogue to you when Exo has the mission done, and
Well,
we'll make sure it's all. Oh, he has it already.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. he's beating me to the punch.
Although I do feel that maybe we should wait for the end of the mission, just so Deox can actually get a complete idea of what dialogue is going on.
That's why I haven't sent anything to him yet, because I was waiting until we have the mission done, and then yeah,
that would be a good idea, because then you can actually send him like the map, the game plan of how things can go and all that, and then he can work around all of that.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't mind. Here's the thing: I'm used to writing pages on pages and throwing them in the bin. That's kind of the point of being an academic at all. This is kind of just a process. So it's not a problem, but it's much easier to write and make sure everything is cohesive if I have a full picture of what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, if you do check them, can you please ignore the redneck writing?
No, Deox will give the dialogue a whirl. Don't worry.
just ignore the redneck writing and it'll be fine.
You're gonna like the Labyrinth campaign then, because Ordana is in it, and you can have your redneck dialogue in it.
I think when I went over the script for the last cinematic, I spent like an hour not actually doing anything. It was just really getting into how you write Neff. That's pretty much what I was doing. Because here's the thing: like, if you have more people that write stuff for something, it doesn't need to be a game, but for whatever, right?
Yeah.
It sticks out like a sore thumb. If the style is too different, like, people will notice that, and it can really pull people out. Like, I remember one of my professors, when we took writing classes, he said it's better to be a consistent shitty writer than to be an inconsistent. Because people get used to because the reader gets used to a particular style, and if you keep jumping between styles or the level of complexity in your language, then it will look worse overall.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little worried about Shakespearean Kokiri, because I hate that kind of English, actually. I hate reading books. Like, I love Hamlet, but it's always such a chore to read through Hamlet because it's in that form of English. And in fact, I recently got the Confessions of St. Augustine, and it's written in that English, and it's incredibly hard to read through it. So it's going to be a challenge to have all the Kokiri stuff be in Shakespearean.
Yeah. Though, speaking of dialogue, one thing I would like to add, though, is more colorful language that is thematically fitting with the setting. Because English is an amazing language, and you guys are not utilizing it to its full potential. There's so many funny words that are not, like, they are amazing, and people kind of get what they mean, but no one uses them. And I always joke with Exo, like, one of my favorite words is dastard.
Dastardly?
I love that word.
Dastardly.
It's such a great word. I love it. But you never see it in use. In some games they do use, especially in medieval games.
I like the things you said. I like the things you said to that WoW player about being something with a monkey. something. I don't remember what the entire phrase was, but it fits.
Do you mean the armpit scratching, slobbering Neolithic ape man?
Yeah, but you had a different term for this guy. But anyway, a bit of a tangent here.
Yeah.
We're digressing. What were we talking about?
No, we're kind of on topic.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, you can go to the next question in chat.
A certain point of view.
I don't think I've seen one since the last one I answered. Someone asked if I've heard of Bionicle. Yes, I have heard of Bionicle, although my only experience with it is like 15 years ago. I was at a science camp. I think I was in elementary school at the time, and there was a Bionicle like component board game thing that they had there, and no one could figure out how the game worked. That's my only experience with Bionicle. Is this board game that no one could figure out how to actually play it, so we just stopped playing it, and we ended up playing a different board game.
Yeah, that guy in the chat's right though. Bionicle had some deep ass lore.
Well, I might look into it then. I'm kind of a lore nut. I was actually. Well, we're talking about lore related stuff. Was it I think it was last night or the night before. I think it was Conan the Barbarian, which, for the record, I really like Conan the Barbarian. I actually think we also came to the conclusion that it has like the perfect fan base.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that a little bit.
Yeah, because like
it's still really prevalent somehow in pop culture, but I've met like 2 people who are actual fans of it.
Yeah, like Conan the Barbarian is incredibly successful, and there's really good Conan games, and there's decent Conan movies, and like it's like a big part of pop culture, but no one talks about it and no one spurgs over it. Like you would never know that there's a fan base for it. It's like my perfect fan base. Apparently my microphone's breaking up.
It's kind of like the Star Fox fandom, but somehow less perverted, despite what Conan's in.
God.
There's barely a Star Fox fandom left, sadly.
I was literally about to ask, what's Star Fox?
Honestly, I would. I'm not gonna be a shill, but I'm just gonna put it out there. Of Nintendo franchises, Fire Emblem is probably one of those people. Like you don't hear about anything unless something controversial happens, which happens sometimes.
Yeah, it seems like most people I know play Fire Emblem as just, it's a game series I like, but they don't really get into like a fandom of it, from what I've seen.
Yeah, the fandom is really strong, but they're really quiet. Like they're not bombastic at all. It's like really, I like it, even though they're kind of stupid.
Wow. You're just shilling for them. We're like, I mean, they're garbage and stupid. You know what? They're pretty cool, but damn, they're stupid.
Actually, question that.
I hate them all.
Someone's asking if the Ooka will be playable. Yes, they will be.
We used the weird Ooka music from Times Menagerie.
I'm really looking forward to playing the Ooka.
Yeah, the Ooka are gonna be awesome because they'll kind of be like in Warhammer. They're kind of like the Space Marines, where when you train their units, they kind of just like drop out of the sky at the rally point. So they don't actually they don't come out of the building and then walk to the rally point. Wherever you set the rally point on the map, a freaking Ooka will just drop out of the sky there. They're also I'm not sure how exactly it'll work, but as a faction they won't have any workers. They just kind of like their buildings drop out of the sky and then they kind of like slowly generate resources. So the Ooka will be kind of weird, but I think they'll be awesome.
That'd be an interesting game.
And will the aura be usable? Maybe. It'd be a really powerful ability.
Lore.
Will factions be dependent on map type? I don't think so. I think every faction will be available on every map.
I think the Gorons should be banned on every map.
Gorons should be banned. No, they just need to be balanced better.
You can only play the Gorons on Death Mountain. They don't leave.
Oh, wait a minute. Iron question. Did you try out my rebalance for the Gorons?
Did you made a rebalance?
Were they removed from the game?
No. Are you?
At what balance though?
I'm actually not going to lie. I deleted the files for the Gorons. Because a friend of mine that I play a lot with, I said, you have to make your files identical to mine if you want to play. So delete that shit. Someone
asked if the first sages return. No, they're dead. They got destroyed by the aura, coincidentally. Well, not all of them.
No.
Demoko wasn't killed by the aura. Neither was Stalfos.
They're not dead because they're
yeah, yeah, but it exists in the modern sages.
Yeah.
Their principality lives on.
Deox wants to revive them for the dating simulator. You can revive them for the dating simulator.
Matthias and my wife.
Now, obviously, the dating simulator would take place in the afterlife, EXO. Obviously.
Someone
Well,
asked
that's
if
okay,
random
keep
map
fighting.
generation will be a feature. Yes, it will. Actually, random maps are currently a feature in 0 AD. Someone actually gave me a script that generated randomized Gerudo deserts, but I'm an idiot and I forgot where I put it. But yeah, random maps will be a thing. The reason I disabled it is because the way resources work in Hyrule Conquest is slightly different, and none of the 0 AD maps spawn rupees, so I considered it a low priority, and I haven't added rupees to their randomized maps. And also, because the scale of the bases is so much larger in Hyrule Conquest, there's almost never enough room on the randomized 0 AD maps to make a base. So I need to do something about that.
Yeah,
But
because
Deox,
a base
the
in 0
unnamed-
AD is like 2 to 3 times larger depending on the faction.
Yeah, I
Or
tried to
something
go
to
for
consider
as
the-
realistic of a scale as possible with the bases, and even then, I've had to shrink some of the bases because they're just too large. Like the
I'm
Hylian
saying,
Castle's too big.
It's gonna get really crazy when Labyrinth gets in. Jesus.
Yeah, I think Labrina's gonna be pretty cool, even though I'm actually not a huge fan of Labrina, but everyone seems to love them.
I love them. They gay.
But
Someone
hold on a
asked
second.
how many original characters are in Hyrule Conquest. There's actually not that many. Most of the quote-unquote OCs have actually been turned into canon characters. Like Kazak just ended up becoming, the King of Red Lions. Akazu actually ended up becoming a canonical character, but I won't say who, even though I think it's pretty obvious.
I agree with the main characters, but the problem, because Zelda pretty much doesn't have any meaningful characters whatsoever, you could pretty much say that every single NPC that is not crucial to the plot is an OC.
Yeah. I think
Pretty
off the
cool.
top of my head, the
Yeah.
only two original characters that I intend to always be original characters are Sulcaris and Lear. I guess the first sages too, like Demoko and all of
And
them.
some of the Twilight characters.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a lot of original Tweely stuff because obviously there's barely any Tweely stuff in canon. So yeah, actually there's a lot of original character stuff. It's just
Nep.
Yeah, you can't take your OC to cannon shotgun onto them anymore.
unless in Breath of the Wild 2 they add a bunch of Tweely stuff. I don't know.
You guys keep referring to Labrina's story, but I personally don't know anything about that story. So where can we even find this stuff? Is it on the wiki?
Yeah, there's
Somewhere?
some of it's on the wiki. I've just talked about it a lot over the last 5 years, so I think people are just remembering the things I've talked about.
Yeah.
Like all the character deaths in the Labyrinth part.
Oh, everyone already knows.
Well,
No one knows specific ones except for like Deox, but I unintentionally, just to get this out of the way, after the whole Labyrinth thing's done, a lot of named characters die in it, and it was not intentional. Like after I was looking back at it, I was like, holy crap, a lot of named characters die in the Labyrinth story. No, I didn't set out to do that, it just happened.
I think
Whoa. Someone.
I think a reason why a lot of people are looking forward to the Labyrinth arc, and because a lot of people feel that the current arc, the Fallen Sage arc, is very interpersonal, and I always said, yeah, it is, because it's not really about character, it's about setting up a bunch of concepts that will come into play later on, right?
Yeah, the whole Fallen Sage thing is basically set up.
Yeah, and Labyrinth is the very personal story.
Build up.
Where
In particular for Link.
Yeah.
Pretty much almost all of Link's character arc happens in the Labyrinth part, and then he has stuff that happens after that, but like basically the point where he goes from like a kind of an idiot boy to a man is kind of happens in that part. That's when he grows his beard too.
Yeah.
And I'm missing more questions. I'm doing terrible at keeping up with the chat.
Someone asked if the series will continue after the lifetime of the current characters.
If I finish in my lifetime and I finish my original games, maybe. I don't even know if I'll finish this game in my lifetime before I die because there's so much stuff.
If you finish Hyrule Conquest and immediately start working on another Zelda game, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah, Adam keeps desperately trying to get me to work on Sigma. I don't blame him.
I like
if I'm not being completely, I think from the current year that we're in now, it's about 20 years or so.
20 years. All right. Well, at least we have a bunch of stuff to look forward to.
That's 2 decades of stuff going on. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, but you shouldn't look at the end of the road. You should enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we all know what's at the end of the journey. A single Goma larva going over the hill. As the credits.
No. No.
Yes.
When's ever
Someone's
really
asking about the Age of Empires 3 city shipment mechanic for HC. If something like that were to end up in the game, it'd probably be for one specific faction and not all of them. Maybe the Ooka, because they're getting all their stuff from the Sky City. So, I don't know, maybe the Ooka could have something like the city shipment mechanic from Age of Empires 3. But I honestly I haven't really thought of that particular mechanic. So I'm not really sure.
I somehow feel like that mechanic connected to like a freeform campaign. I mean,
maybe. I'll have to think about that.
Like far into the future, knowing you.
And someone asked, "What is my favorite Conquest ship?"
Ooh, I know.
I mean, you know which one ends up actually happening, but
yeah, but I know which one is your favorite.
Yeah.
Tingle.
The Tingle and Tingle.
And
the thing is,
Tingle.
There's my favorite personal one, and then there's the one that it's like, okay, this is the one that would actually happen based on how the characters are, because I happen to believe that I forgot what I believe.
You forgot what you believe?
I forgot what I believe.
Oh no! What's your favorite?
Your favorite personal ship is not a spoiler at all.
Oh. So are you guys talking about the best ship? Because there's only one right answer.
Well, I think the best one is actually the one Iron Wolf is thinking of, but that one I don't want to spoil.
My favorite is fish salad. That's all I'm gonna
Fish salad. That's actually an example of one that makes sense because of how the characters are. Like I didn't come up with that one because I liked them, but I'm like, oh, these two characters have an incredibly similar childhood, and they would probably be drawn together based on like their life experiences. So that's how the fish salad happened.
Wait, yeah, Deox just DM me the answers, please. I get props this kind of stuff. Just DM me these.
Let's see what other questions I missed. Will there be crisis factions like the Silent Ones or Phantom Army? Actually, those are literally the word, crisis factions. Like the Silent Ones and the Phantom Army are crisis factions. So yes, there will be the two ones you actually asked about. Those will be like random events in skirmish maps. I think the way they'll work is if the match goes on for like longer than an hour, the game will spawn like a giant army from one of the crisis factions that'll try and attack all the players, and it basically will try and encourage the players to, well, basically they'll put a dent in the players' armies, so whichever one survives, they can, I don't know, they can take, huh?
Message me what ship you think I'm thinking about if it's a spoiler.
Does it involve milk?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
that's the one I'm thinking of.
Wait. So, do you not want to give your favorite? Maybe I missed it. Did you say which one was your favorite non-spoiler one?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Link and Tetra kind of get together, so I guess it's not really a spoiler.
Yeah.
No.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, okay, but that would be your favorite.
That's not the one I'm thinking of.
No.
The one you're thinking of, I actually think would be the best one if certain events didn't happen in the story.
Actually, no. Because you've told me different things. There are actually two ships that you've told me. Funny enough, none of them work out.
Which one? Which one are you thinking of that I've said? That's not a spoiler.
I'll DM you.
Okay, DM me.
DM me too. I want to know.
DM me. Well, actually, just post it in the Discord chat.
Yeah, actually.
So I'm glad we're all on the same page as far as ships go.
Best ship is friendship.
No, I agree with Iron Wolf because both of those characters have like a similar social class, and in that kind of society, like, well, yeah, the Deox, the second one, that's the one Iron Wolf and I are talking about.
That's what I thought.
This one is FBI.
And that not only do I think that one would work because of the way that their society works, but like their personalities, I think, really go well together. At least Neffy's version of them. The first one is just because I like those two characters a lot. That's my guilty pleasure one, I guess.
No, but the first one makes sense. It's just it's one of those things, you know, when they say maybe in a different life. But it's not that it's not that it doesn't make sense within the context of the story. It just doesn't work out because that's not always how life is. Stuff doesn't work out.
Since it's October, I think I'm obligated to say that the actual best ship in Hyrule Conquest is Akazu and Azraeli.
That's a spooky ship. I like it.
That's funny because they're very platonic in their relationship.
Actually, no. Another good spooky ship is the Boomer and the
Boomer.
Oh, I forgot what to say. I was gonna say fuck.
What, Boomer Demoko?
No, the Boomer and the magical albino. There we go.
Oh my gosh.
I'm having trouble. Who the hell's the Boomer? There's lots of Boomers in Hyrule Conquest. Which Boomer? The Boomer I'm thinking of is Demoko. Which Boomer are you talking about? Oh, that Boomer. Okay, I know what Boomer you're talking about. Yes, that's a really good pairing, I think.
Mongo is so Boomer, he wants time to fucking stop.
That Boomer. I would say he's. I guess he's kind of a Boomer, but he's not. His mentality isn't exactly Boomerish. No, he keeps up with the times.
Exodarian is taking furious notes listening to this about the. In order to make the dating sim.
Let's see what other questions I've been asked.
How dare you make such accusations?
Let's see. Someone asked, "Do you think I'll give my project and my works to my kids?" If they want it. Otherwise, I wouldn't wish it on them if they didn't want to continue my stuff.
It's the one thing in your will. Get Hyrule
finish Hyrule Conquest. It's like it takes like 10 generations to finish Hyrule Conquest. It just becomes like a thing of my family line.
Then I can see you lecturing your 5-year-old son. Now listen very carefully, my son. You're gonna finish that broccoli, and you're gonna finish that little piece of the script.
No, only if they wanted to. If they didn't want to, I wouldn't wish it on them.
When you're 18, you'll take over the family Patreon.
When you're 18, you'll take over the family Patreon. That's great. Oh my god. That's really funny. I think that's the only question that's been asked since then. I think I've caught up on the questions.
Yeah, you most likely did. I have a question that goes back to the shipping and whatnot.
Sure.
Most workable crack ship.
Oh yeah. There's one easy that works, but it's
super easy.
If you don't. No, there's one that really works, but if you actually don't understand the context, it's really crack. And I'm just gonna post it. Here's the thing. We've reached a point. I don't know what's spoilers anymore. It all blends in my head.
I mean,
I'm really careful.
I casually drop spoilers without even realizing it on the Discords all the time, so I won't cry if things get spoiled.
Yeah, you spoiled before. It's Darunia and Rudo. Let's be honest. It's the dude. If you heard about that shit,
which one?
Darunia.
Oh, Darunia. Oh, okay.
That is a faction that works. But here's the thing: if you don't understand, if you don't have the context, you'd think, "What the fuck?"
Yep.
Oh shit! That works brilliantly.
Yeah,
I love those two characters and their interactions in a purely plutonic sense, but what you said is really funny.
It's such a fucking weird pairing, but it really works.
Yep.
Again, you really need the content for it not to be completely crack.
It's so ironic because he's murdered her father. There's so much weird stuff around those two.
Right,
They're two completely incompatible species. They've hated each other most of their lives. He killed her father. I'm pretty sure he would just outright kill her because his blood is like lava. Like it's so weird, but like they work.
What is the? Here's a question. What's the most wholesome ship?
Come on.
Who?
Most wholesome.
No, Diox said something, but I didn't hear what he said.
I'm just saying that Iron is planting, some seeds here. Because we all...
the most wholesome one is the one you and I probably agree on.
No. There's one more wholesome.
There's one even more wholesome?
There's one even more wholesome. From a certain
it's Malon and Ironwood.
Agatha and Mido?
There you go.
Yeah, it's just they're both insane. So
that might not be the most wholesome, but that is an extremely wholesome ship.
It would be in a different context, I guess.
It's a crazy kind of wholesome. That's the most wholesome way because they're both.
Actually, despite all the bullshit it caused, another really wholesome one, if you think about it, is actually Daddy Daphnis and Araya.
Yeah.
That's an actual good one. Even if it caused a lot of drama.
I don't know why it caused. Well, I guess I know why it caused drama, but that's medieval culture, especially if you were a royal. If you were a royal and you lived, from the 900s to like the 1400s, odds are you would get married pretty young to keep the power within the family.
Yep.
So
curious.
And then it also created not intentionally, but it did create kind of an incel, bony.
Oh yeah, you made Akazu.
Is this a shout out to the Habsburgs?
Oh my god.
No, they're not inbred.
They're not inbred.
If anything, the fourth Princess Zelda got some new genes injected in the family line because of her father.
About time. Yeah.
She got some Sheikah genes. The Sheikah desperately need more DNA in their bloodlines too.
Perhaps.
Curious. Okay,
someone asked if I have an OC character based on me in Conquest. No, but I would say there's naturally a bit of me in all the characters, both original and not original, just because I'm the one kind of putting it together. I think it's really hard to avoid. Like, only the best authors can like really detach themselves from the stuff they're making and not put some of them in everything.
My favorite.
Even the best of writers will still be some essence of the person they are.
Like I'm certain there's a bit of George R.R. Martin in all the Game of Thrones characters.
Oh yeah,
I'm certain of it, just based on some of the things I've heard from him.
Constantly having sex with himself.
Yeah, I was about to say. So basically, Cersei and there was a double. Is that how would you even call that? Dual incest or something? How would you describe that?
Self-cest.
Self-cest with a little bit of sprinkling a little bit of incest on top of self-cest.
All I'm saying, if I was George's sisters and he handed me a draft of Cersei's pew,
you would want a restraining file for restraining order.
I would watch George from I would be side viewing him quite hard during the Christmas dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's so funny because I've seen a lot of interviews with George R.R. Martin, and he seems just like a friendly old Santa Claus, but all the stuff he's written is so messed up. He's seriously he has like a friendly old Santa Claus voice. He looks like Santa Claus. He's just like this friendly guy, and then you hear him laugh, and you're like, okay, there's something dark in there.
When someone asked where are all the Sheikah right now, I assume they mean like a the end of the Solcaris arc where all the
most of them are dead, because they've just had problems producing offspring because they're horribly inbred. That's why they're all pale.
Honestly,
and screwed up.
Okay, but how?
Like they've been having problems for quite a while.
Yeah, it's been like a century-long problem for them. A lot of them died during the Great Wars too.
We see a few Sheikah in the story, obviously Impa and stuff, but how does their society actually function?
Like
it doesn't
They
function.
just pop up. They just pop up out of the shadows like some kind of secret dark cult. But you don't even know what they are like.
No, but it used to work, but because they were starting to have a lot of problems, it became very decentralized. And now kind of the Sheikah we see in the current event, like the current events of the story, they're kind of just doing their own thing. Because
I would compare, at the height of their power, I would compare the Sheikah to something like the Order of the Knights Templar. Like,
okay.
They operate kind of like that. They're not exactly like their own nation. They're kind of a...
Yeah, well, I figured that. Because the Knights Templar are more of an organization than...
the Sheikah are more like them. Or the Teutonic Order, or the... I'm going to butcher the word, but the Knights Hospitable... The Hospitaller, there we go. I hate saying that word.
You could just say Hospitaller.
Hospitaller, yes. The Sheikah are an organization like them.
But here's
although they're kind of ethnically driven, which is a little strange for a small organization like that, which is why they became inbred and died.
Yeah, but here's the big deal is that the Knights Templar and the Knights Hospitaller were all made of the same species, but the Sheikah are a different kind of species, aren't they? Or are
they're no. If anything, they're so pure that they're inbred.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were just Hylians.
Yeah, ethnically they're closer to Akalans because they're inbred. Like they're just inbred. Like, but
I guess they're like Targaryens.
yeah. But the thing is, their way of life kind of would have worked. But the problem is that you're not. Akalan blood is all but diluted at this point. There's barely anything left of it.
It's kind of a lost cause.
Yeah, they're freaking out. Like barely anyone alive has like pure Akalan blood. They're all bastards.
So
I think Hylia is probably the only one left alive with pure Akalan blood.
Yeah.
I'm trying. Oh no. There's another character that's still around at the time that has Akalan blood. Someone hiding in the desert.
It does seem like the few Sheikah that are still alive, apparently, they don't really give a shit about the continuation of their own Sheikah.
No, only Impa does.
Impa does?
In fact, one of the other Sheikah that's alive, I guess is kind of spoilers, they actually want to completely screw over the Sheikah.
I thought Impa had her own goals already set.
Impa's goal does kind of transcend the Sheikah order. Her goal kind of is... Well, her goal was the original goal of the Sheikah. So I guess you could argue that... argue that Impa's like the most Sheikah that ever Sheikah'd.
The thing is, I think the Sheikah are interesting though because they actually do, like, they actually raise a lot of moral, dilemmas. Because while obviously what they do is kind of messed up, and they've still done a lot of good.
Yeah, they're morally reprehensible, but they've technically saved Hyrule like 3 or 4 times from being overrun by arguably worse powers like moblins.
And they've also kept the peace within the kingdom. I mean, in the Great Golden Age, it kind of insane if you compare it to like an actual. If you compare it to our history, it's insane.
Perhaps that's why I like Edelgard so much, because they remind you of the Sheikah.
You're an Edelgard fan?
Because Sheikah is all about because what they do leads to stagnation. I don't like stagnation. Like that's the problem with the Golden Age. Like it was an age of peace, but it led to some severe stagnation in terms of culture, technology, everything, art. I'm like, that's the big dilemma. Is peace worth the stagnation? I personally don't think it is.
Well, it's kind of funny because, yeah, their goal is basically to maintain the status quo, which obviously leads to stagnation, and also genetically they're completely stagnated. Like that pattern is completely part of their culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone's asking the name of the children of my Hyrule Conquest ship, please. As far off the top of my head, only one couple in my canon actually has a child, and that's obviously Link and Zelda. And the name is not final, but I don't know, Deox actually, I think it was Deox, you came up with the name, didn't you? Or was that you?
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah, I think Deox actually came up with the name that we'll probably go with for their child.
Your trunk?
What? I'm trying to think, do any other characters have children?
Well, unless you get Darina and Ruto a kid, I don't think
no. Darina and Ruto, like, I don't even think they can physically.
What would it look like?
They can't even really do anything. They both lack the necessary organs.
Well, actually, technically speaking, only Darina lacks the necessary organs.
Yeah, I guess technically Darina doesn't, because the Gorons, they aren't even organic. They're rocks.
They're one might say they're rock hard.
Yeah.
Although I have to say it is a little bit weird that in such a story of so many characters that there's only one kid born.
And spoiler, something really bad happens with the kid. So I think I don't know.
No,
I think there's actually a reason for that kind of subliminally crept in. I think it's just because of the increasing sense of how difficult it is to have children in like Western society right now. I think that's kind of snuck into my work. I mean, I guess it's technically not difficult to actually have a child, but like supporting a child with like the living conditions of 20 years ago is kind of hard. I got really serious for a second there. I'm sorry.
I know a way to remedy that.
No,
and everyone went silent.
No, but that's kind of the sense, without going into spoilers, that's kind of the sense you get when we reach a certain point in the story, is that the world and the characters, while they have sort of triumphed over those, the trials that tested them, metaphysics, they're left broken. Like, by the events. Like, I think, like, they're all left broken by the events that unfolded.
As someone pointed out, don't waste money on college. Sadly, I already went to college, but thankfully, I have my college paid off. So there's that. But I chose a career path that isn't exactly conducive to middle class living. So. But I don't know. For thousands of years, humans have been popping out babies with, terrible quality of life. So I don't know. I might just have to one day deal with low standard of living if I'm gonna have a child.
I'm gonna insert some of my beliefs into the podcast. Don't go to university. Don't go to university. There you go. Okay.
You work at a university too.
Yeah, but don't go to university.
Don't give my job money. Don't give my job money.
University wouldn't be there if it wasn't for university.
LDR guys,
university is a scam.
Up out of school and make fan games, guys.
Yeah, see, just to point things out, I guess, or set the record straight. I have no problem personally living a very Spartan lifestyle. I've been doing it for a long time. Like, I have no problem being really poor. I don't know if I want to wish that on a family that I might start. So, but the point is, I don't want to get into my personal life too much, but the point is, I think that has crept into my work. The idea of failing a child, which is basically what happens with the only two characters that manage to have a child in Nephi canon. there's a definite theme in my work of a failure to a failure to pass things on properly to the next generation.
Yeah.
Another thing to look at it is the fact that they're warriors. They don't know how to sit down in one place for too long.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, but that's exactly like by the end. When we get to the end, everyone that is remaining are broken. Like,
yeah,
broken.
and as he said, like Link basically is almost completely nomadic his entire life. He's never had a home for longer than X amount of time. Like, he's born in Kalatia, he was there for a bit, and then stuff happened, and then he was in Laneru for a bit, and then stuff happened, and then he was in Hyrule Castletown for a bit, and then the Gerudo Wars happened, and then he was adopted by the Wizrobe, and then he kind of likes the Kokiri, so he hanged around them for a while, and then stuff happened. So yeah, Link has never had like a place he's called home. So yeah, he's like completely nomadic, basically.
Ironically, it's like if you just look at Link's life up until now in a vacuum, you'd already get kind of the idea that he's not going to be the best fighter, right? He's not going to be the best father.
No, probably not. Especially for a daughter. Nah, Link probably would not be a good father based on his experiences.
I really like that though, because the thing is, in a lot of fiction these days, the protagonist, despite all the traumatic and terrible things they went through, they still somehow always manage to get the happy ending, have a family, be a really good parent. That's not how it works at all.
No, it's not.
I think it's refreshing when fiction make these great heroes that we really end up liking, but then they spin it and make them into terrible parents, because that's what makes, in a lot of cases that makes sense.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, it's not... If we're going to talk about quote-unquote realism for a second here, things don't, like, end in extremes. Like, people don't win everything, but people don't really lose everything. It's usually a bit of both. Like...
Yeah.
Like, some people win things at life, they get the girl, they get a family, but it's usually at the cost of something else, like, an arm or a limb. So,
well, at least
I don't try and make the end of every character in my stuff absolutely miserable, but yeah, they usually lose something.
Bottom line is, Link should have never left the forest.
Link should have never left. Well, the forest would have been destroyed anyway if he stayed, so...
Details, come on.
Details.
Nah, the problem was with Link's parents, but then you could argue the problem was with his parents, and then you gotta draw the line somewhere, otherwise you're gonna go back to the first shitheads in history that ruined it for everyone.
Yeah.
I guess that's where the concept of original sin comes from. Like, if you go back far enough, you realize, oh, all our problems really did come from X people from this far back, and it just slowly spread through the generations and never went away.
Thanks, Adam and Eve.
But yeah, Link probably would not be a good father, and he isn't. And I mean, he isn't, and he's not like a bad father in the sense that he's like doing a bad job. He just doesn't. He doesn't know what to do.
He just sucks.
Sure, I guess I'll put it like yeah.
Are you surprised? He just sucks.
Yeah, he just doesn't know what he's doing. He's out of his element.
Isn't every person when they have a kid?
Yeah, he's out of his... Yeah, I guess. But I do feel like... And I've known people like this. There are people that I've known that just seemed like they were just born to be parents.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I think it has a lot to do with kind of life you led up to that point.
Yeah.
And again, Link didn't really spend a lot of time with kids, did he?
Unless you count the Kokiri, but the Kokiri aren't like typical children, so no. Yeah. Link. I mean, he was around Lana and some other kids when the Wizrobe adopted them, but he's never. I would say his problem's the opposite. He never really had any adult figures until Hylia.
Yeah.
That's actually probably why he has such an affinity for the Kokiri, because he's like, oh, they're like kids, but they have kind of the stability of adults. That's probably why he developed an affinity for the Kokiri, because they were kind of like, I mean, they aren't really the best of both worlds, but I guess from his childlike mind, the Kokiri are like the best of both worlds. Like, he can relate to them because they're childlike, but they're not idiots like children. They have some experience with living in the real world. Well, I guess not the real world, but like, you know, the forest.
Yeah.
I feel like you can make a case against Hylia as well, because I don't think she really acted much like a parent, did she?
No. Hylia is not a good parent.
Even Hylia, but Hylia just showcased the same problem as Link, because Hylia is deeply broken.
Yeah. I actually think, as far as Nephi canon goes, Rauru would probably be a good father. Obviously, Daddy Daphne's was a pretty good father.
Nostrum, bro.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say Nostrum, although his son hates him, so he failed somewhere.
Oh, wait, his son hates him? Link doesn't hate him?
No, Karok.
No, I know.
Karok hates him.
Yeah, I know Karok hates him.
Well, but he doesn't hate him because he's a bad father. He hates him because he's jealous that...
Yeah, I actually kind of got the vibe that, like, for my opinion, I got the vibe that Nostrum's probably more of a father figure to Link.
Yeah, he is.
It's probably the closest thing he has to a father figure.
Yes, he is.
I think also another point is why Link is so attached to Hylia as well is because his mom, Link's actual mom, was a bitch.
Spoilers.
Oh wow.
It's not really it's not. You get the hint already that she is kind of a bitch, where he's like, oh yeah, she had a lot, kind of left me.
I mean, his father was an asshole in the old Valiant comic. I love that comic when Link goes to visit his parents and he opens the door and then his father just punches him in the face. That's just the best thing ever.
Yikes.
I miss old Zelda stuff.
I mean, wow. I guess bottom line is, Hyrule Conquest is just a story about a really traumatized and broken character.
Yeah, there are a lot of characters that have gone through trauma. I'm trying to think of characters that haven't. I guess Daddy Daphne's. He embraced it, and he was like he's basically the most successful character. He's like the character who wins at everything, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, he loses his wife at some point, but at that point, he's had a family. His stuff is secure. Like, his legacy... Well, I guess his legacy kind of gets ruined 2 generations after him, but, like, from his perspective, while he's alive, he basically wins at life, and he's, like, the only character in Nephi canon who pulled that off.
So, yeah. I'm kind of changing the topic a little bit, but I'm a little curious. Are most of the people in your chat like really looking forward to the Deku Scrubs? I assume they are.
Oh, do we want? Yeah, do we want to finally talk about the Deku Scrubs?
Oh yes.
I guess we'll talk about them for an hour, and then if there's more questions, we'll do a little more Q&A. We'll probably wrap this up in like an hour and a half ish.
That's fine.
Unless we just have that much more to talk about, but yeah, we should probably talk about the Deku Scrubs. What do you want to talk about with the Deku Scrubs?
So I can finally make my weak-ass units spit their nuts at people.
Yes, the Deku spit nuts.
But, what kind of faction are they going to be again? Like a swarm faction, or?
The term I came up for how they play, I don't know if this is the term I want to always use, but I call them like a meat shield faction. They basically start as a swarm faction, and then sometime around like the midpoint of their tech tree, they have like a sudden spike in the quality of their units and the power of their units.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's like they start as a swarm faction and then they transition into like a techie kind of faction, because the second half of their units are like really big, powerful creatures and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're not like the Ordana or the Goma, where they're kind of always have crappy units until the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of like start out with crappy units and then they transition to better units. And I don't have a term for that. I just kind of call it meat shield, because by the end of the game, their starting units are kind of just meat shields that are their only purpose is to die.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing some replays and shit. Like the video you put out the other day, or was that yesterday, I think?
Yeah, it was yesterday I put the video up.
It was it looked really cool.
I'm just finishing their techs, and then I'll have a video where I show all of their units and stuff. I haven't finished putting in all their texts yet, and I need those in before I can do a video.
I remember way back we talked about some potential texts. Are you still thinking about the way to specialize in Mad Scrub?
Yeah. I'm thinking the way Mad Scrub will work is when a Deku Scrub dies, there's a chance that they'll turn into a Mad Scrub, and then the Mad Scrub will just attack anything near it. And then, yeah, they'll have techs that can control how they spawn, and they might even get some limited control over Mad Scrubs. I haven't really decided yet.
I mean, it would be really funny to just send a shit ton of Scrubs in to die, and they all become crazy Mad Scrubs. And
Yep. Someone pointed out that the Deku Scrubs are like the Imperial Guard. That's actually a pretty good comparison. Like the Imperial Guard have a bunch of they have their conscripts and like a bunch of crappy soldiers. And then they have like the freaking Bane Blade at the other end of their tech tree, which is like the best tank in the whole game. But yeah, they like the Imperial Guard, they send in all their conscripts and stuff to keep the enemy army at a position, and then they just shell them with their artillery and their tanks from like behind their lines. That's kind of how the Deku Scrubs play. You send in all their crappy scrubs and stuff up in the front, and then you bombard them with your artillery and stuff. Like their giant beetles can mount catapults and stuff on their back. The Deku Scrubs actually have a lot of good defenses too, which wasn't the original intent, but like they can grow like Deku Babas all over their buildings. That'll make it harder for people to capture their buildings, which is pretty cool. Oh yeah, actually that's another feature I haven't really talked about on the Discord, but I did talk about it with EXO the other day. The way the Deku Babas work. The Deku Babas kind of like you can garrison them onto most of the Deku units, and they kind of like ride around on the heads of Deku Scrubs. So they're kind of like an augment to whatever unit they're attached to, and you can basically upgrade the Deku Babas to do different things. Like you can turn them into a little ranged unit, or you can give them poison damage, stuff like that. So the Deku Babas ended up being really awesome.
Nice.
I really look forward to the Deku. They were like they're such a cool. They have such a cool aesthetic, and I just love the fact how they're so silly looking.
They're really awesome right now in their incomplete state.
Yeah,
they're really fun to play as, and they're really fun to animate too.
They were a lot more popular than I had originally thought. Like I was reading some of the comments in the video and stuff, and some people in Discords and stuff, and like they're a lot more popular than I thought. People really like them.
Yeah, I actually have a personal friend who, I mean, they don't really like them that much anymore because supposedly there's a really crazy Deku fandom. But I had a friend who used to really love Deku Scrubs. They actually kind of inspired some of the choices I made with their units. So yeah, the Deku Scrubs do seem to actually have a pretty decent fandom. Which is kind of interesting because they were only in 2.5 games. They're kind of like the Tweely, where like there's not a lot of them, but they're super popular, like the Tweely and the Sheikah.
Is that Deku Scrub community still on DeviantArt?
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's the community that they're talking about.
Are they still around?
They're still around. They're, as far as I know, they're more active than the Tweely community on DeviantArt.
The Tweely community will never die, though.
The Tweely is they're limping along, but the Tweely community is pretty much dead right now.
Really?
Yes. So you have to go through the portal to see them.
Like the old one is dead, but there are still a few people hanging around.
It's weird because I remember back in the day, like I was like, these people, man, it's never gonna go away.
Yeah, I found an artist on DeviantArt like a month or two ago that actually consistently makes Tweely related art that's pretty good. And down the road, I'm considering asking them if I could include their designs in my stuff because they have a lot of really good designs. But the Tweely are so far off, I'm not worrying about them right now.
What's after the Deku Scrubs? It's the Stalfos.
Yeah, the Stalfos are after the Deku Scrubs. And they are getting probably one of the biggest overhauls of any faction.
Are they gonna get a lot of swirls?
Yeah, they're confirmed for Zonai. The Deku Scrubs have a lot of swirls. I guess they're confirmed for Zonai too.
All the forest races are Zonai.
That means we're one step closer to the Stalfos.
To answer some of the Deku Scrub related questions, yeah, supposedly I'm not part of the Deku Scrub fandom, so all I've heard about them is hearsay. But supposedly, yes, they are like a Sonic tier fandom.
Yes, they are.
That's what I've heard.
I can vouch for that.
I had a friend. I mean, I still have the friend, but like they used to be part of the Deku Scrub community, and they were kind of pushed away from it because of a bunch of unnecessary drama and stuff. But point is, I'm not surprised that a lot of people like the Deku Scrubs, because it seems like there's just kind of a fandom for them that's been around for 20 years.
Jesus Christ,
They're cute little fun characters.
They are really cute, and they're really funny, and they're funny in not like a stupid kind of way. They're funny like the orcs from Warhammer.
Yeah.
They're gonna be funnier when you get them to speak Old English.
Well, they don't speak Old English, but
every character should speak Old English.
The Deku Scrubs in Nephi canon actually can't speak. They just make like doot doot sounds. I guess they're kind of like Wookiees in Star Wars, where people just kind of understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
But they can't actually speak words because of the way their mouths are. Their mouths are like literal horns.
They do it.
All they do is make doot doot sounds and musical chirps.
Yeah, I'm looking
Make
forward
him sound like a kazoo.
Yeah.
I think the reason the Deku Scrubs really work, and it's obvious in Majora's Mask, is even though they're kind of funny and cute, they're obviously capable of being like completely messed up and violent.
Yeah.
Like in Majora's Mask, they're basically going around like boiling monkeys alive because they think they kidnapped his daughter.
You kidnapped my daughter, I will smash
they're like the orcs in Warhammer. Even though they're silly, like they're more than capable of being hyper violent, which I think helps them work in a real time strategy game setting.
I remember as a kid playing Majora's Mask through for the first time, and then going to Deku Palace. I'm like, oh shit, this music is so good. And then I get in, and they're like boiling monkeys alive. I'm like, what is this?
They're not dumb like the Anauki, where I could never ever see the Anauki being like a threat to anyone, because they're like such a fundamentally, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like like I had to completely redesign the Anauki, but the Deku Scrubs, like there's in canon stuff where they're like they have an army in Majora's Mask. It's not very big, but they have one.
Yeah.
So, is this Mandela effect, or do the Anauki also have like snot bubbles? Sometimes?
Yes, they have. Well,
Okay.
one of them does.
Oh,
one of them has a snot bubble.
When you go and talk to them, they're like, "Hey, buddy."
I mean, the Anauki don't even know what organs they have. To put things into perspective, they're not even sure. They don't even know how to reproduce. You have to teach them how to make babies. Like, to put things in perspective, they're like dodo birds.
Oh wow.
Maybe they're all inbred. I don't know. But I could never. I basically had to redesign the Anauki to even consider putting them in the game, because they just don't work. Whereas the Deku Scrubs do. So
you should just have them be extinct, because it's like the Galapagos turtle that almost went extinct because they were too tasty.
Nah, I'm just gonna. I redesigned the Anauki.
Oh yeah.
They're actually one of my favorite redesigns.
For good reason.
They look really cool.
They're probably actually gonna be one of my favorite factions based on how they play. They're basically the World War I faction.
How's that?
They make trenches and bunkers, and they just slowly steal land bit by bit as they move towards an enemy base.
Well,
I thought you were gonna say they shot Franz Ferdinand.
No. Let's see. I actually haven't been paying attention to the chat. Let's see if I missed any questions.
yeah, I'm looking forward to the Deku Scrubs, but I'm still gonna play the Goma.
Yeah, the Goma still need their pop cap thing fixed.
Yeah, when are you gonna fix that, XO?
It's only been ever since I started playing this video game.
Yeah, if you ever host a tournament again, I'm probably gonna be the Dark Nuts. I really like the Dark Nuts right now, but I don't know. I might play as Deku Scrubs
You
too.
opened the can of worms, Neff. No. Now I'm gonna be getting messages in like 5 seconds.
When's the next Termina? When's the next Termina? Hello.
What about Termina?
Iron Wolf plus Turney plus play with me. Free.
Deku Scrubs do not eat meat. They actually can't hunt animals. Someone asked that in the chat. They can't hunt animals in the game, which begs the question how they figured out how to boil animals alive, but because that kind of implies that they're going to eat them. But
they saw it on TV.
They saw it on
TV.
Oh, yeah. I mean, maybe they just like to execute people that way. They don't actually eat them. But no, the Deku Scrubs are not carnivores. Conversely, the Kokiri are almost exclusively carnivores, other than the berries that they eat. But yeah, Deku Scrubs, actually, I'm not sure if it'll be in the next version, but one of the faction abilities for the Deku Scrubs is wild animals actually won't attack their units unless you attack the wild animals first.
Unless they're herbivores.
So yeah, the Deku Scrubs can kind of move around the map without worrying about being attacked by creeps and stuff unless they attack them. So that's kind of handy for exploring the map. Although the scout for the Deku Scrubs can't even be attacked by most ground units anyway. So the Deku Scrubs are really good at exploring the map now that I think about it.
No.
They're really good at moving around the map.
Free.
And if Exodarian actually can figure it out, a feature I did want when I first moved over to Zero EDs, I wanted Deku Scrubs to be able to move their units through trees. So with that in mind, yeah, the Deku Scrubs would be really good at map control, basically, because they can move around the map really easily, which is pretty cool. Assuming the map isn't full of water and cliffs.
Actually, since they're plant-like, wouldn't they just, like, drink to survive, basically?
They eat nuts. The Deku nuts. That's the only thing they eat. Their farms grow them exclusively. And yeah, they drink water, obviously, but their diet is very, very small. Someone asked when patrons will get access to the Deku Scrubs. I'm just getting all of their techs in, which hopefully I'll have done either by tomorrow or Sunday. So I want to say around Sunday or Monday this week, but just to be safe, I'll just say sometime this week the patrons will get to take the Deku Scrubs for a test run.
Nice.
Sometime in the next 3 to 7 days, the patrons will get them. Then I'll start on the Lizzlefoss. Unless Exo has the mission done, then I'll be working on that for a bit before I start on the Lizzlefoss.
Nice.
Oh yeah. 2 questions, both for Iron Wolf.
Oh no.
Oh yes. When are you going to try out my Goron rebalance?
Send it to me. I'll try it sometime.
It's literally in the rebalance thing in public of the Hyrule Conquest server.
Oh, okay. Let me rejoin it. I'll look.
Someone is asking if the Deku Scrubs appear in the story. Yes, they are actually technically in the Labrina arc, but I kind of want to say they're more so after it. It's kind of both. They're technically in the Labrina arc, but at that point, Labrina's kind of not entirely involved anymore. So I hesitate to.
Yeah, I would say
consider them the same.
It's closer to the epilogue of the Labrina.
Yeah, there's a pretty big segment actually with Link and Tetra and the Deku Scrubs after the Labrina thing, which is gonna be awesome. It's one of my favorite parts.
Do you need me to send you an invite, Iron?
Yeah, for those that aren't aware of like the geography in Hyrule Conquest, the Deku Scrubs are right on the border of Labrina, so they're very frequently at odds with them.
Fuel for the Imperial machine.
Yeah. They're one of the only powers that was able to hold out against Labrina, but I don't think Labrina had much interest in the forest, so. Well, Deku Scrubs have connection with Majora in some way. Yes, they do. sort of. I would say it's more so they have a connection to Adolwa, so they're connected to Majora by proxy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in some way.
they become connected to Adolwa, and Adolwa is obviously connected to Majora, so they're connected in that way. They probably don't even know who the hell Majora is until after their bondage to Adolwa is complete, I guess you could say.
And then they get pissed off and start shooting nuts at Majora.
Well, Deku Scrubs are always pissed off. They're always angry.
What are the next couple pairs of factions? I know you've got Deku Scrubs and Lizalfos together. And then what's after that?
After them is Labrina and the Fairies.
Nice.
And then I believe after them is the Sheikah and Stalfos.
Ooh, baby.
Which the Sheikah will be awesome. So will the Stalfos, because
Yeah.
I like undead stuff.
Me too, buddy.
I'll when Warcraft 3 Reforged comes out, if we play, I call the undead. What else? What's after? I'm forgetting who's after the Sheikah and Stalfos. I want to say it's the Wizrobes and Akala and the Volvagians are paired together. The Wizrobe and the River Zora. That's who's after them.
Yeah.
And then it's Akala and Volvagians, and then the Ooka are the last, along with, I think, Aghanim. Although I consider demoting Aghanim to a minor faction. I haven't decided yet. That might piss some people off, so I might not do that, but we'll see.
Someone asked will Sheikah stances be in. I think we
Yes,
talked
they
about
will.
that on
Yes, they will. We actually, I think it was mostly Deox who came up with this idea, although it's someone else other than me, but we found a way to make the stances work really well in 0 AD. It's going to be awesome. Basically, the Sheikah will have 3 stances, and depending on the stance, their units will transform. If you've played Universe at War, it's kind of like the dark and light modes that the Masari have that you can switch between, except the Sheikah have 3 of them. They'll have like an economic stance where they're all farmers and stuff, and when they're in that stance, their economy is really good. And then they'll have like a sneaky stance, which is called the shadow stance, where all their units are like basically ninjas and they're really stealthy. And then they have the death stance, which is like their war stance, where they basically all become like samurai and they all become kind of warriors. And they can switch between the 3 stances at will, although it's not instantaneous. So you kind of have to like prepare for it.
I like to claim credit for some of the stance stuff. I definitely came up with the rice field stance.
Yeah, you came up with waifu stance, I think.
Oh yeah, waifu stance, yeah.
No, that was me.
That was Deox. I'm certain it was all Deox that came up with it, but I wasn't sure. We need to write this stuff down, as far as like who gets credit for what.
It doesn't really matter though.
Hey, I need to go down in history as the guy that invented the rice field stance.
The rice field stance.
I remember because we couldn't agree what to call the passive stance, so we kept having really funny names for it.
We still haven't agreed with it.
Apparently, a lot of people liked just a daylight stance or whatever.
Daylight
something
stance.
like that.
Nah, we gotta make it beta soy boy stance.
We'll come up with something for the waifu stance when we get to the Sheikah, but we still have 3 other factions to get through. So
is there an Eric Butt stance?
No.
As long as I get my...
Just sit there and cry.
Just sits there. I guess Mido is probably the closest thing to that.
All I'm saying, Neff, I haven't forgotten you promised me a moth-inspired skin.
Fine. Yeah, I did.
Someone in the chat said, "Will Neff write in his will to his son, please balance my game?" I don't think Neff wants to condemn his children.
We're gonna try and balance the game, but because of the bloated nature of the game, it probably will always be imbalanced to some degree. So we're definitely gonna try, but
like it actually though it gets kind of easier to balance the more factions in if you go for the rock paper scissors balance style.
We're not. I don't think there's really a rock paper scissors.
Like if you don't do that though, yeah, then it's just gonna be craziness.
The way I have it in mind is every faction should have something that can go against other factions at some point, even if it's imbalanced. I know that's kind of hard to like quantify, but
now you guys are speaking my language.
that's kind of what I wanted to do in Medieval 2. I wanted to make it so that the factions each had some kind of tactic that they could employ, that no matter how imbalanced they were, they'd have a way. It was a matter of finding out the tactic rather than the units, I guess, but that's really hard to quantify or even articulate, so I don't know. I think I'm missing questions.
But Hyrule Conquest balance is already struggling with like 8 factions, so 50 factions.
Yeah, supposedly the Gorons are already really OP right now, and I guess the Moblins are broken.
Broken bad.
Which is funny, because I seem to remember when you first tried out the Moblins, you're like, man, they're great.
Yeah, and then I played against other human beings, and I was like, oh, they're not.
They actually have a bug right now where the Bokoblins that spawn with the totems are invulnerable. So technically they're the best faction because they have invincible units.
That's true. No, yeah, the Gorons, like they're still the best, of course, and then the Goma are good. They're strong, but they'll never not be strong.
It's so funny because in the first version of the game, the Gorons were like the worst faction.
Literally unplayable.
They were basically unplayable because they could be rushed, and then after just one little update, they're like the most OP faction in the game.
Yeah. But no, actually, okay, so I step back from what I said. The game's actually fairly balanced outside of 2 or 3 factions. I'm not gonna lie. Like, for the most part, it's like Ordana, Kingdom of Hyrule, Laniru, the Gerudo to a degree, the Kokiri. They're all like very well balanced. There's just a couple like oddities that stand out, like the Gorons, of course. The Blends are bad. Darknuts even aren't like I expected. Honestly, I expected the Darknuts to be garbage. I expected them to be the worst faction in the game.
So did I.
But
I have a lot of fun playing as them.
Yeah, they're really fun. I know a lot of people enjoy their play.
I mean, the Gerudo just got a bunch of mage-related stuff, which hopefully helps them.
Like, everything outside of basically, like I said, 2 or 3 factions is fairly balanced.
Everyone except the poor Moblins.
Yeah, they're bad.
Which is sad, because I was actually expecting the Moblins to be, like, the best faction because of how mobile they are, but until Exo and I get the system in that we talked about, it's too much micromanagement to move their bases around right now. It's too many clicks, and it's kind of a hassle.
Yeah. I mean, the Gorons and the Zora are really the ones that are just inherently strong. The Goma are only strong because of bugs, which is no pun intended.
No pun intended. Yeah, their pop cap thing, immediately when I saw that, I'm like, oh, the Goma are broken.
Yeah, they will. That is broken, and they will continue to be broken until that there's a solution for that.
I imagine it's not that hard. Maybe I'll bother Exo about it in the future. Yeah. Basically, the problem is buildings cannot be given a population requirement, and their eggs are buildings. Although I guess I could find a way to make it so that the queen just places a unit instead of a building. Yeah, that might actually solve the problem. I don't know why I didn't think of that until now, so maybe I'll try that.
Yeah. But I mean, if that gets fixed, then they're a fairly fair and balanced faction for the most part. And then you just address the elephant in the room is the Gorons and the Zora.
What would you suggest to fix the Gorons and make them a little less strong?
Add more factions to the game.
Okay. That is something I would like to push for, even though Zero ID needs to be optimized first, is because I'm a huge fan of Dawn of War 2 and Age of Empires 2. I kind of want to push for multiplayer to be like team-based.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I love teams.
Like right now it's it's really heavy in 1v1 because I understand why, but I kind of want to encourage 2v2 and 3v3 where you want to pair factions up and the factions like complement each other, because that's Age of Empires 2, obviously it has the team bonuses, but Dawn of War really pushes... the second Dawn of War, in particular, really pushes the... You have to play with other factions on a team, or you can't play the game at all, basically.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to be that extreme, but...
Like, I personally... Like, 2v2s are personally my favorite format of RTS. Like, I may be all about the 1v1s, but I love 2v2s. 1v1s is just what all the cool kids do.
Like, in my mind, Ordana and Laniru are supposed to be like the Italians in Age of Empires 2, or for those that played Galactic Battlegrounds, they're like Naboo, where they're specifically designed to be on a team with other factions because their economy is strong.
Yeah, and I love that concept. It's just rough in a 1v1 like heavy environment.
Yeah, well, also the problem is it's really hard to play 2v2s and 3v3s because 0AD kind of is not optimized right now.
I mean, you have some really strong economy factions. If you want some really strong, you should make some factions that are really strong offensively but really bad at economy.
That should be the Moblins.
Yeah.
The Moblins are supposed to have a terrible economy, and to some degree the Deku Scrubs actually should have a terrible economy because their workers don't have arms. They literally, like, when people try them out, when they see their workers building their buildings, they literally just bash their heads into the building as it's being made. They're just bashing their heads into it.
Yeah.
Because their workers don't have arms, which is hilarious.
But no, I'm not too I don't speak much of it, but no, I mean, what I do see of Hyrule Conquest gameplay these days, I mean, it seems, for the most part, generally speaking, to be in a good place. Like I said, like outside of a couple oddities, but no, it's in a good place. And honestly, it's not even just that it's kind of what I like when I was saying add more factions to the game. I was half serious, half joking, because like there's factions that are planned to be in that I'm fairly certain will inherently balance it out.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about it. It's just, for the time being, like.
Then you're a Stalfos player, and you're like, wow, Undeath is awesome, guys. And then you play
everyone's playing as Gorons. Everyone's playing as Stalfos also.
Oh.
Stalfos versus Stalfos and Gorons.
Oh.
No.
I want you guys to know that even if the Stalfos are broken as hell, I'm just gonna continue to say they're bad. No, I'm just kidding. The
Stalfos are gonna be really cool. They're technically not gonna be finished until I have all the factions in the game, though, because I'm being insane and I'm making it so that the corpses that they raise will reflect the race of the unit that they raise. So if they raise the corpse of a Zora, it'll be a Zora corpse. If they raise the corpse of a giant, Hinox, it'll be a Hinox corpse. That's going to take forever to do.
Yeah.
I basically have to make skeletal versions of almost everything in the game. So that's going to take me a really long time to do. So that'll be something I'll have to do slowly in the background.
Like over time, yeah.
Yeah, when I release the Stalfos, they're probably just going to have like the just a humanoid skeleton for the time being, and then I'll slowly add variations as time goes.
Yeah.
I guess a band-aid you could do, though, for big units is that you get more basic skeletons from big units.
Yeah. Like the corpse of like what's a big unit? Like the Hierophant for the Zoras. The corpse just gives you like 10 stall troops or something. Yeah, that's a band-aid solution for the time being.
Kind of like Warcraft 3 Necromancers, no matter what dies, like the one corpse will always be turned in the same unit. That's like a good solution, like temporary until you get the whole thing put in.
Yeah, but eventually, it's gonna be crazy. Where, depending on what corpse they raise, they'll get a skeleton of that species. Obviously, some species are immune to it, like the fairies probably are. The Gorons obviously are immune to it. Other Stalfos player, the Stalfos can generate corpses, so I guess if you're a Stalfos player attacking another Stalfos base, you could turn their own corpses against them.
Yeah.
Never-ending.
Yeah, just a never-ending back and forth between two Stalfos players where they can't one-up each other because they keep raising the corpses of each other.
Like you got an entire line of corpses just being raised and slaughtered again and again because neither player can get up right.
Unless they go after the necromancers, that'd be the way to stop that back and forth.
Yeah, but that's kind of difficult because you have to select your unit and then make them attack the necromancer, but then the necromancer is raising the fuckers, and then they die, and then they're back to life, and there's a 50 chance between it's your unit or their unit.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked about this before with a couple of people in my multiplayer Discord, and I've said that like if I ever like decide to start pushing really really hard again, I want to really encourage people to play twos. I think twos are just the most enjoyable and most healthy like way to play RTSs. It's so fun.
They are
I think it goes beyond RTSs even. Like most games,
just in general.
The problem right now, though, is that 0AD isn't well optimized. Like, the frame rate really gets bad when there's more than 2 players, like, in the late game especially.
Yeah,
not only that, but there is no level of detail that allows you to go for the small polygon counts.
That too.
And a lot of what it is also is it's just hard to have people to play.
That too. Yeah, Hyrule Conquest is still technically obscure right now. Actually, the other day, or yesterday, I guess, because I finished the Deku thing, so I went to a bunch of Discords, some of them Zelda-related, some of them not, to, post the video. And in one of the Discords, within 5 seconds of posting the Deku Scrub video, like, not even 5 seconds, like, I was banned from the Discord because he thought I was a bot spamming a mobile game. I seriously have like the hardest time advertising my stuff. I suck at advertising.
Wow.
And I'd posted Hyrule Conquest stuff in that Discord before because the person who runs that Discord loves Zelda games and he loves strategy games, but he seems to have no interest in Hyrule Conquest at all. So,
weird.
And his mods apparently thought I was a bot spamming a mobile game.
Wow.
Did you clarify? Or
yes, I clarified and they let me back in, but I thought it was funny how fast I got banned. I didn't even realize that I was kicked at first. I'm like, wait, the Discord icon disappeared. What the hell happened? It took me like 10 minutes to figure out what happened.
Wow.
But yeah, the point is Hyrule Conquest is still kind of obscure. It's really hard to find people interested in it because I just seem to have a hard time advertising it. And there's also the problem of I don't want to advertise it too much because I don't want to draw the wrong kind of attention. Although it's been around for 10 years, so it seems like Nintendo's okay with it, but I don't know.
They're gonna wait for you to finish it.
Yeah, they'll wait for me to finish it, which hopefully, or not hopefully, but also not hopefully, won't happen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
That's what they did to Hero of Time. They waited for them to finish the damn movie, and then they told them they can't play it anymore.
Which, as much as that sucks, that's the nicest thing they could possibly do if they want to follow copyright law. Wait for it to be finished and then destroy it.
Because, like, then there's going to be the hush-hush. People will still distribute it around,
Uh-huh.
Neff, you think the Zelda community nowadays follow BOTW style and therefore dislike... Well, people have always disliked my stuff since the start because I've kind of clashed against the canon Zelda stuff for basically since Skyward Sword. So, I'm certain there's people who really like the Breath of the Wild stuff and they don't like my stuff because of that, but that's always been a thing for like the last decade. So that's not really a new phenomenon if that's the case. I've always had people who just absolutely hate my stuff because I don't kind of what's the word? I don't kind of regurgitate, the canon stuff. Like, I think you know what I'm trying to say.
You do not conform to
I don't
of the sheep.
Yeah, I don't suck up to Nintendo canon. Is that a nice way of putting it?
Well, more so that if you had to change the way your game works with every new Zelda release, and as we've talked about multiple times, Zelda doesn't really have a consistent identity or consistent lore or an aesthetic. You'd basically be redoing a lot of stuff in Hyrule Conquest. They're adding a bunch of stuff as they keep adding more games faster than you can finish your own game.
Well,
ironically though, I don't.
I'll go.
Obviously,
already do that,
like, it's something I've noticed for quite a while with the Zelda fandom is that they're not very, they're not very engaged in fan projects. Like, obviously some people are. I'm not pulling everyone under the buttons here, but compared to some other fandoms, the larger fandom is kind of like, they don't really care.
Yeah, that seems to be what I've run into. Is there's like, that's neat, and then they don't care.
Zelda fan projects and things like that seemed like it's really kind of died off, because I remember things like that used to be really big in like the early 2000s.
Yeah, I had tons of Zelda fan games I played back in like 2006. Most of them were Link to the Past clones, but there was tons of them.
I would say around like 2009, 2010ish is when I feel like a lot of the Zelda fan projects started to fall.
I agree.
That's when I came along.
I agree. But even then, I remember distinctly that a lot of those things were still niche.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, compared to like other fandoms that really embrace fan fiction and fan work.
Yeah.
It was really
like
niche.
Sonic.
Yeah. Like,
well,
I think. Yeah, go on.
Okay, so I think there's something to be said about series that are deemed dead or not as good as they used to be, and fan projects about those getting more attention. Because that's why we're saying, like, I think a Star Fox game is going to make you a Star Fox fandom legend. Like.
I agree with that.
The problem with the Star Fox fandom is it barely seems to exist anymore. So there's not that many people to be interested.
You should have just started in the Sonic fandom and get hired by Sega.
Yeah,
because that's the thing. Like, whenever there's a fan game for Sonic, or a fan anything for Sonic, people tend to want to go to it because, in general, I think the perception of the official games is so mixed, and people have different ideas on what they should or shouldn't be doing. That maybe a fan will take it out on a fan game. Like,
there was actually
my favorite. Ratchet and Clank. There's no Ratchet and Clank fan games, so it's already fucking perfect. You understand?
there was actually, wasn't there a Sonic game a few years ago that was actually made by fans?
Sonic Mania.
That one. Sega was like, oh, this is cool. Let's give you guys money, and they gave them money and they published
Freedom Planet was another one that I think started as a Sonic fan game, but then it got so involved they turned it into their own.
Also, another perfect example is literally anything ever made on the Source engine.
Like Portal, Counter-Strike, Team Fortress.
Do you guys know? Okay, do you guys know about the Missing Link?
Yes.
The project.
Yes, the Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask thing. Yeah, I know about that.
I'm pretty sure the vast majority of the Zelda fandom have no idea it exists.
Which is kind of sad.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, your average Zelda fan has no idea.
You know what the average Zelda fan is aware of, though?
The average what? Sorry, you cut out.
What the average Zelda fan is aware of, though?
What's that?
That 1-to-1 Unreal 4 recreation of Ocarina of Time.
Oh yeah. Well, that's just because it's something that I don't think anyone's looking to play Zelda like that necessarily. Like, if you were to make a game, it wouldn't get that much attention. People would just like, oh wow, they can share this video around, and Kotaku will be like, I stand for this.
I know what you're referring to. that thing from Star Wars.
Yeah, the little alien. Like, I stand.
That
for
was
this
so
thing.
funny when I read that the other day. I'm like, what the hell?
Like, just the general vibe I get from the Zelda community is that they're just very content with the way the franchise is.
Yeah,
they don't really seem like they have much interest in changing it.
That's perfect.
No, I still don't understand that mentality.
It's contentness.
Yeah.
But I don't understand that mentality because Zelda games don't come out that often, and that's just more content for you.
I'm not sure why, and I really don't want to turn this into me ranting about Zelda fans for 2 hours. So I'm really trying not to like be negative, but there is like this weird sense of always being content with anything that like with Zelda related that Nintendo puts out that I don't know, I find kind of strange.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why that is. It's like this complete contentness with the status quo Or
It
even if the
reminds me-
status quo gets shaken up, oh, I'm content with it. I don't care that they removed all the dungeons and stuff in
reminds
the
me
new
of that.
one.
Reminds me of that
I'm content.
One guy, it reminds me of that one guy I saw in a Discord that I was in with Codeman. This guy, or Codeman was posting some Hyrule Conquest pictures. I think it was a Dark Knight. He was posting screenshots of things of like your work, and some guy. Yeah.
The
You remember
what?
that?
Yeah.
The
Mulder
dude was
guy.
just like adamant about like fan projects are wrong. We trust
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo. They like it's their franchise. Anything they do with it or they see fit with it is like the only way that the series should be portrayed and all this. And like, okay, I respect your opinion, but like, why is there's so much hate for fan projects? It was just weird.
Well, and again, the joke is almost everything now is technically a fan's work. Like the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movie is technically a fan work. Tolkien did not make that movie. Tolkien was long dead. Like the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, that's a fan that made Batman. That's not Bob Kane, although I guess you could argue about who actually created Batman. But like almost everything now is in the hands of fans. Even Star Wars is in the hands of Disney, who like J.J. Abrams didn't create Star Wars. George Lucas and the other people tied to him in the 70s did. Like, so everything is technically fan work, even the professional stuff. The only difference is the companies have a legal document saying they own it. That's the only difference. Like even the Zelda games now, Breath of the Wild, Miyamoto had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Well, just because it's
Miyamoto
not
didn't
made
even
by
see the game for the first time until that one E3 where he bumbled around on the horse doing nothing in the woods.
Climb the tree.
Well, I mean, when people
So
say,
when
like,
I hear
fan
people
games-
say like fan stuff is like immoral and it doesn't have no right to exist, well, I'm sorry. Almost everything now is made by fans because the original creators are dead or have no involvement with
or
the things.
you have the awkward incident of Fire Emblem Three Houses where we all anonymously agree it's the best game in the franchise in a long time, and it's not even made by the developers of the franchise.
That's kind of like Civilization 6. Like Civilization 6 is called Sid Meier's Civilization 6. It's the best one in the series, but Sid Meier had nothing to do with it, even though his name is in the title of the game.
That's just a copy. Well, I mean, do we define fan game based on, I don't know, maybe there is something to the official capacity of I don't know, the big company or the copyright holder giving license to a new set of developers that aren't the creator. But maybe that's the kind of the hidden, or not the hidden. Well, that's like I guess the unspoken. Boom.
Yeah, we were talking about it like a week ago, or we're talking about like if Nintendo came along and was like, okay, Hyrule Conquest is official. Here's the Nintendo label, and suddenly people would magically like it. Like the fact that all something takes is a logo kind of baffles me. Like I pointed out the example, like if Cadence of Hyrule never had Nintendo support, I can guarantee you people would have been like, whatever.
Well, then it goes to, do you think Nintendo would just sign off on Hyrule Conquest as is?
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah, that would change it. That's the thing.
no one would have thought they would have done that for Cadence of Hyrule either.
Mm-hmm.
I would have thought they would have liked Cadence of Hyrule,
or even Hyrule Warriors. Like Hyrule Warriors blindsided everyone. Like what the hell?
Well, maybe, but
they allowed them to make this game.
Well, that's the thing is I think that kind of wrongly assumes that it is just a sticker. I think there's a lot more into it.
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't think.
No, I'm saying it isn't just a sticker.
Well,
I think there's more when Nintendo gives a seal of approval on something. That's what people want.
That's possible, but then I hear the story of how Cadence of Hyrule came to be, and they literally knocked on the door randomly, and they're like, "Oh, here you go."
How you doing, motherfuckers? Haven't heard from you in a long time.
I can barely hear you, Juggalo. You sound super distant. Then he just disappears.
Yeah, get the fuck out. No.
Is he in the car or something?
I don't know. But no, I don't know, the whole Cadence of Hyrule thing, I think that was like...
We're live, by the way, Juggalo.
Good.
Good.
But with the Cadence of Hyrule backstory, I don't think it's as simple as they said. Sure, like, they didn't just give them the license, I don't think.
I guess I'll give it the benefit of the doubt then.
The same thing happened with that, like, what was it, the friggin' Rayman Mario XCOM game or whatever.
Oh yeah, the Mario.
They didn't just give them the thing. They were like kind of under a lot of guidance from Nintendo through the entire process. I imagine it's the same thing with Hyrule.
But I think I obviously this is conjecture, but I also think that it's much easier to be fan of a brand than the actual creators behind it. Like I'm really curious.
I agree with that.
If I ask these supposed hardcore Zelda fans and I ask them who's your favorite composer,
Koji Kondo.
They say Adam Halpin.
Adam Halpin, yeah. I mean, he's my favorite composer.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. No, I'm pretty sure most have no idea. Absolutely.
Well,
no idea.
to add a bit of credence to your point, if you look up music videos or if you look up the soundtrack for Twilight Princess on YouTube, almost all of them credit it to Koji Kondo. And for years, I thought the soundtrack for Twilight Princess was made by Koji Kondo. I found out only like a year ago, no, Koji Kondo did not do the soundtrack to Twilight Princess. Everyone just assumed he did it for years.
I think that's the thing that happens a lot with games. Like, it's hard to attribute a game or a series or an idea to a single creator, or more so than it is to like film or novels.
Yeah.
Because when you say, "Oh, I'm a fan," like when you say you're a fan of Pulp Fiction, it's easy to assume, "Oh, you're probably a Tarantino fan."
Here's
Motherfucker, you kidding me? Get fucking bent, you son of a bitch. Okay, sorry.
God damn it, Chuckalo.
Road rage.
Film have directors, and usually directors get a lot of that, that spotlight of making a movie. Games have directors too, and I still don't think most Zelda fans know any directors. Barely.
Right. I mean, like that's the other thing is I think because I don't know, we always attribute games to a company, but not really. We don't really attribute. Maybe there's some really factory farm BS movies that we attribute to companies. Like people are always making fun of Sony Animation Studios.
Yeah, that's actually a good example.
Yeah, but I think with games, we always seem to attribute it to except for some weird niche games, it's not very common to attribute games to the director.
Yeah, it is more so the company.
Unless it's someone like Kojima.
Unless I was about to say.
Yeah, unless it's Kojima who puts his name saying "written by Kojima" after every mission.
Well, not after every mission, before and after.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, before. Yeah, he has an opening credits to every mission.
I never understood why the fuck they went that route. Like, what the fuck?
He did it.
Kojima's just weird.
He did it to make Konami mad because Konami made him take his logo off the box. Remember?
I think that you know what? I think that is what it was. Is fuck you. You're gonna fucking take my name. Box into every fucking mission.
When early games, it was even uncommon to credit the developers at all. It was always credited to the publishers, I'm pretty sure. And then there was the first Easter egg. The first Easter egg was a hidden credit for the developer.
Yeah, someone pointed out we definitely went off the Deku Scrub topic.
Speaking of old ass games, Ahoy released a new documentary, so go check that out.
Oh yeah, I'm shilling for Ahoy. Everyone go watch Ahoy instead of the no.
I don't even remember what the original question was that turned into this. Something about fan work. Oh, it was advertised. Oh, it was 2v2s.
Wasn't that
in Hyrule Conquest?
2v2s and advertised and
yeah, and how advertising Hyrule Conquest is really hard.
Are there any
when you were talking about fan works, I saw something that and I don't know if you guys may have covered this while I was not here. But I saw something that I didn't read at all. I read the title of the video, and I left it at that. Was that this remake was originally a fan game, and they took the people on?
You mean the Sonic one?
No. Link's Awakening.
The Link's Awakening thing was originally a fan remake?
Again, I saw this in passing on a YouTube video as a thumbnail. I assumed it was clickbait, but given that you were talking about remakes, I thought maybe there was truth to it.
If that's true, someone should send it to that guy who thinks fan stuff is immoral and wrong.
Big if true.
Yeah, big if.
No, I mean 110% real, and I'm gonna just trigger Neff. I am thoroughly enjoying Happy Meal game.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I would enjoy it too if I wanted to drop $60.
Yeah, I just don't think it's worth the money.
I got it for fucking $20. Are you kidding?
How'd you get it for $20? Did you get it used or something?
For like 2 hours, because I had a dumbass friend who buys everything at launch, and then he was like, "Oh, this kind of sucks. You can have it." I'm like,
okay, well, you do what I do, so good on you.
You just kind of mooch off other people.
Now, I remember there was a dude who, Did I send you that screenshot of the text message of my one friend before? I think I showed it to you, but it was the one guy who this 4 or 5 months ago, motherfucker takes a screenshot Fallout 76 for like $10, and he's like, at that price I can't say no, and I'm like, no, at that price you should say no because you're the reason this happens.
Atomic Shop.
I'm surprised Fallout 76 is even still around, but yeah, we've gone really far off
Did you hear about the
topic.
fucking moldy ass helmet?
Yes.
So
God is intent on killing all Fallout 76 fans.
So I'm gonna kind of go back to what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Var in the
Oh my
chat.
God,
has been
Iron's back?
asking- Dude,
Yeah, everyone's back
Dude.
today. It's great. We haven't done
I
one of
know.
these in forever.
I emerged from the shadows.
There's no way.
Yeah, Insomniac came back. All you guys just showed up in the last day and were like, "Oh, let's do a."
Oh, there's Wanker. Holy shit!
And there's Winway. He's back now too.
Right as I said, there's no Wanker.
Hello,
Wait,
Wanker.
what were you guys talking about before?
We were trying to talk about Deku Scrubs, and we ended up going off on a huge tangent. But
Talking about fan games and their place in the universe, and whether
Yeah.
the Bible is okay with them. They say fan game in the Bible. It's fine.
But yeah,
Paradise
maybe if
Lost
you
is a
made your
fan
game a
work. It
bit
should
more
be canon.
Let's try to address Vara's question though.
yeah, Var.
Okay, where is this question in the chat?
He's been asking for like 2 hours. Can you give us some more details on Termina? I've just been seeing his questions.
Oh.
I'm like, this poor soul's listening to us. talk
There's
about
so
ships
much
and-
spoiler stuff around Termina. I don't know what I could say about it without.
Well, how about this
spoiling
other
it.
question? Did Termina steal my prom date?
If your prom date died, it might have.
OD'd in the high school bathroom.
It threw its baby in a dumpster and OD'd in the bathroom.
We have to add a zombie Molly Ringwald to their faction. To their faction.
I think
actually-
it's really hard to talk about Termina without.
Yeah, Termina is really hard to talk about. It's basically all spoilers.
Well,
Yeah.
if you're willing to
spooky.
peek through a lot of metaphysical and
That too.
philosophical shit, the spoilers are there. I'm pretty sure the entire core of Hyrule Conquest has been spoiled. It's just been hidden underneath a mountain of symbolism and bullshit.
Yeah, Termina is basically entirely metaphysical, so.
Have you ever played Silent Hill? There you go. That's Termina.
Sure.
Okay, how about this? This won't be a spoiler. On a scale of 1 to spooky, how spooky's Termina?
7 or 8.
Skeleton.
Oh, that's pretty spoopy.
That's pretty spooky. Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to spooky, how spooky is Termina skeleton?
No, actually, that's
It's
not. You
10
can't even actually.
gamers.
To be honest, to be honest, you can't actually answer that question completely because it depends.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not that simple.
Sadly, Termina's like the last thing I'll be working on, so I was probably not gonna hear or see much about it for a very long time, unless I happen to finish everything really fast.
This is like eerily nostalgic. It's like the entire squad is in voice chat right now, and it's been
It's
a
been like
while.
2 or 3 months.
It's been a hot minute.
Wasn't the last one we did the E3 thing?
It was.
I think it was the E3 thing where it was just like a chaotic stream, and then the
just
stream
talked
died
about
halfway
reading
through,
shit.
and I had to restart it.
Yeah.
That was fun. And now I disappeared for God knows how.
Yeah, like almost all of you disappeared for like 2 months.
And then everyone just decided to show up. Now.
And literally everyone decided to show up around the same
Dude, they
time.
smelled the podcast.
we smelled it.
I mean,
Sure.
the only reason I showed up is because I got fucking pinged. Who the fuck pinged me?
Oh,
that was me. I pinged everyone.
Oh,
Hey,
you
Juggalo.
at everyone, you asshole. That's like fucking rule number 1
That's
of Discord.
rule number 1
Thou
of
shalt
Discord.
not ping everyone, you cock.
Hey, Juggalo. I just thought of you as a gamer. You're gonna watch Joker?
Oh, a true gamer.
I actually am going to go with my mom to see it. I've heard it's actually genuinely good.
No, it's
And I
good.
know what's been going on. I don't.
He says
give
we
a
live in a
fuck.
society in it.
It
No.
does? That's great.
We live in a.
No.
There was a point where motherfuckers were censoring the word. Joker.
Hey, I had "We Live in a Society" before that was a meme.
Yeah,
Literally I looked it up. Akazu says we live in a society 3 years before the Joker did.
True.
When's he gonna say
the original gamer?
When is he gonna rise up?
Yeah.
When is he gonna rise up and stop bottom texting?
When's he gonna start saying racial slurs?
Zelda fans, rise up.
When is Link gonna say the N-word? Just hard R.
I don't think that exists in Hyrule. They probably have different racial slurs in Hyrule.
He's gonna look at Demise and like, wow, what a goddamn nit, and then just like censor.
It's gonna, yeah.
Yeah, the only slur in Hyrule Conquest is calling Hylians high fools.
I mean, can you honestly, can you honestly, like, you know, be like, what's up, my ninjas, to any Sheikah you see, or what?
That would be, I don't know, maybe scrub is a slur, and they just kind of embraced it.
Yeah. You know what? I bet
like the Deku Scrubs thought it was a compliment, and they just like adopted it.
Imagine if someone else uses that insult to a scrub, and they're like, "You can't say that word. Only we can say that word."
Fucking good.
Only we can sing that word.
What's up, my scrubbers?
My scrubbers.
And that's our word. That's our word. You can't.
That's our word. You can't say.
You can't use that word. Only we can use that word.
We've gone so far off topic.
Yeah, I was just about to say maybe we should just end the podcast here before we get.
Yeah. Is there anything else anyone wants to talk about? And if anyone on the video has any like questions to ask them now, because if I'll give it like a few minutes, and if there's not, I'll probably end the stream because we've been going like 2.5 hours, I think.
Yeah. Any last minute questions for next?
Okay, rapid fire Q&A. Everyone go.
Yeah, if anyone has questions, now's the chance, because it might be a while before we do another one of these.
Yeah, I have one, but it's to Iron Wolf.
Oh no.
Give us more lore. I'd love to talk about lore. What lore questions do you have? It's like my favorite thing to talk about.
Same.
Lore questions. Shit. What's the lore?
Will the first sages be in Termina? No. They're kind of yes and no, sort of. I'm not sure how to explain that.
No, their metaphysical thrones are present.
Yeah, Deox to save the day.
There we go.
They're present through the other sages. I should just bunker down and make a podcast about principalities. Like finally, just nothing about that. I know we kind of did talk about it like a year ago, but
featuring Jonathan Pagio of the Devil May Cry.
I would love to talk to Pagio in one of his streams, but I've had trouble getting in contact with him.
Neff, what you should do when you have time is actually make that ladder artwork.
Oh yeah, the Hylian version of the ladder.
Yes.
I should. As soon as I finish the Deku Scrubs, maybe I'll give it a shot.
I mean, it's a really good like piece of religious symbology that will actually.
And it's kind of funny to think the modern version of the ladder is the Inside Out movie. It's kind of sad. Oh yeah, there's a lot more questions. Will Akazu be back? Yes. Yeah, he's gonna be back. Was Zonai the friends we made along the way? Yes. Please bring Pagio here. Yeah, either I go on his channel or vice versa. I'd love to just talk to Pagio, but I managed to show him one of my Sigma things, but I tried to show him another Sigma thing and he never responded. I seem to have an incredibly difficult time getting in contact with anyone. It's really weird.
You know who you'd get in contact with just because he's that petty?
Who?
Owen Benjamin.
No.
You could just make one insult to him and all of a sudden
no.
Like,
now he's gonna make a video because you mentioned him in this stream.
Just edit this out.
He could be the narrator for Star Fox Event Horizon.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Like Termina's on the moon and the moon isn't real.
And the Jews built Termina because that's what they did. Like
the Sheikah built Termina.
Just like Hollywood.
You know, I've always believed this, and this is why I say you should guess the Ooka. Is the Ooka are like the Jews of Hyrule?
The Jews.
Now the Ooka are like
everything. They're the chosen race. They're
now the Ooka are more just like angels themselves. I mean, they're literally messengers between the heavens and the earth. I would compare them more to angelic beings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is there anything else?
Let's see if there's
yeah,
any more
alright.
questions that
Is
I
Mido
missed.
dead?
There isn't one more. Actually, I have one more thing that's not so much a question, but let's see if I can find it. I have perfect things to add to this conversation.
Well,
While
we'll
you
make
look
a
for it,
secret.
I want to ask Iron a question.
Yes.
You're gonna try out the Goron rebalance I sent you, right?
I'll give it a shot.
Well, you
sometime.
guys make an alcohol stream together. I actually haven't drank in a very long time. I think
Please.
almost like 2 years now.
Please.
Sorry.
I'm old enough to drink now. We should do it.
Maybe when the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer comes out, maybe we'll do a drunk stream.
I turned
When the
21.
next trailer comes out, whenever that is, maybe we'll do a drunk stream.
I legitimately
Nice.
forgot there was a Breath 2. I legitimately forgot. Thank you guys for reminding me.
Hero of
You're
Time,
welcome.
Sage of Darkness, double feature.
And maybe I'll get some cider when we do that stream. Some
Hell
nice hard
yeah,
cider.
brother.
Okay.
I'm gonna get some Louisiana iced tea.
Okay, so just for good measure, for anyone who is paying attention right now, I have something that I think will accurately describe the spookiness of Termina, and I'm just going to post it in general right about here. Where is
You
my
know-
keyboard?
you know what
I
we
think
should do?
this accurately describes the spookiness of Termina right here.
You know what we actually should do though? We
What?
should have a podcast. You know what we
no.
really?
Well, what about?
We should have a where one of us play Breath of the Wild.
I've honestly considered it, but I don't want to fork up the money. Although I do have it on an emulator, I guess I could.
I'll be
just
the
capture it
blood
there.
sacrifice.
You should do one of those really crazy reshade mods and play Breath
I-
of the
I've
Wild
con-
as it should have been.
I've considered doing a stream where I play Breath of the Wild and to see how far I can get into it before I quit. Because I never finished it.
You know,
was
I'm
talking
putting
Breath of the
right
Wild.
off
I
the
was
bat.
talking
I'm
Breath
putting
of the Wild
$100 on
2
maybe
launch
50
party.
minutes.
What?
No, I wasn't talking about Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I was talking about Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild 2.
I don't think I'm gonna even try Breath of the
No,
Wild 2
everyone
on
here,
principle.
everyone here is now going to be in on this joke, but we can do a BOTW launch party, but we're actually just talking about the latest Best of the Worst episode.
Yes! Yes!
Here's what we do.
The only BOTW I recognize is Best of the Worst.
Okay,
No,
so
here's the thing,
here's
Neff.
what we do.
You don't need to. Neff, here's the thing. You don't need to play it. All you need to do is sit there and watch the stream and laugh and be drunk.
Oh my
Yeah, one of us will play it.
Now,
What will-
here's what we do. We
Yeah.
go to each of us. We find our nearest midnight release thing, go to it, and stream the autism.
When Winker streamed, or he didn't stream, but he recorded the autism at the
I
Smash
remember that
Bros.
one. I
launch,
remember
and
that
everyone
one
was like
stream.
chanting like it was a freaking cult gathering. That was amazing. I remember Winker sent me some of this. It was
what
really
we're gonna
funny.
do. We're gonna we need to have a launch party for Breath of the Wild 2. Neff will stream himself playing it. If he doesn't want to pay for it, I'll contribute to get Neff the game. And what we'll do, and listen, I will devise a drinking game in which we will all partake in.
Yes.
That will have different things like take a shot every time Adam complains about the music. Take a shot every time Neff talks about principalities within the game. Experiencing it.
That's not as
Take a
funny as
shot
some of
every
the other
time
things.
Neff falls off a fucking cliff.
You know, things like that.
Take a drink every time I complain about. I compare something to Dark Souls.
Take a drink every time.
Every
I say
time
that
Deox
it's a
brings up
low-key
Fire Emblem and how much better it is.
Every time I bring up Ratchet
Every
and Clank,
time I
I
say it's a
like that
low-key
shit.
remake of the original game.
Yeah.
What if Breath of the Wild 2 is a low-key remake of Zelda 2? God, it's like a side-scroller.
Every time Deox brings up Fire Emblem, or I bring up Ratchet and Clank.
Here's the fucked up part. If it actually does kind of end up that way, where it's loosely based around fucking Zelda 2, I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, Zelda 2 is my favorite Zelda game, so.
I don't believe that. Really? That's
No, really.
Every time I tell people it's actually my favorite Zelda game, they're like, no. What's your real favorite Zelda game?
Good joke. Good joke, nerd.
Contrarian.
Everyone, new Patreon goal: get a Switch and make them play Breath of the Wild 2.
Petition for Zelda.
I might watch someone play it, but I don't think I'm gonna ever try it. Just out of principle.
In almost 12 years of supporting Neff, I think I will finally become a patron to watch him play Breath of the Wild.
Okay, now here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do. I want to see how much of your fucking map they stole again.
I guess. Well, you guys will find. You're the one who noticed all of that, so I guess you'll find out when it comes out.
And then we'll put it together and we'll be like, wait a minute.
But
right.
I think it doesn't look like any more questions are coming through, so I'm probably just gonna.
I still have one.
Okay, what's your question before I wrap everything up?
Iron Wolf.
Yeah.
Oh, for him.
Yeah, I didn't get to ask the other one.
All right.
Maybe.
Okay. So my question is, when's the next tournament?
Oh Lord, I think it's a good time to end the stream.
Well, sometime after the Deku Scrubs and the Lizzlefoss come out, I'll bother him about hosting a tournament.
All right, have fun.
Sweet.
All right, well, that was fun. We haven't done that in a while. That was probably one of our most incoherent streams ever, but at least we were able to talk about the Deku Scrubs a little bit. But
I feel sad now.
Anyway, stay tuned for the Deku Scrubs sometime soon and our next crazy stream.
I might do a song for them next year.
Anyway, I'm stopping